Let the good times roll. Hey.
For dry, tired, and irritated.
Hey, Di, good to see you.
Eye drops provide long-lasting lubrication that's preservative and phosphate-free. Using the unique comet multi-dose application system, Hilo precisely delivers 300.
But this was no ordinary outgassing. In late August, Swift's ultraviolet spectrograph measured water production at a staggering 144 metric tons per hour. Imagine a fire hose operating at full capacity continuously for weeks. This torrent showed no signs of abating. By mid-September, as 3I Atlas neared its October 3rd perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, the water production remained constant. Yet something else was accelerating, demanding the attention of planetary scientists. The Keck Observatory in Hawaii, conducting spectroscopic observations throughout September, detected a disquieting exponential increase in hydrogen cyanide HCN emissions. In late August, HCN production registered at approximately 17.6 grams per second. By September 15th, it had surged to 34 GS. Just 5 days before the Mars encounter on September 28th, the rate had reached 52 GS. The trend was undeniable. As 3I Atlas approached perihelion, cyanide production was roughly doubling every 2 weeks. Extrapolating this curve forward to the October 3rd encounter date, cyanide output would have been somewhere between 60 and 70 GS, precisely as Mars traversed its chemical wake. And then there's the nickel. This is where the narrative pivots from unusual to genuinely anomalous, challenging fundamental assumptions about cosmic chemistry.
You know what, Di? I don't care they know where I am. I'm not doing nothing wrong, so their surveillance doesn't worry me.
On September 21st, Keck,
Although I do understand its sinister motives,
detected distinct emission lines in the comet's spectrum corresponding to ionized nickel, specifically Ni+ at 362 nanometers. The presence of trace metals in comets close to the Sun isn't entirely unprecedented. Intense sublimation can release heavier elements. However, what made this detection profoundly different was the conspicuous absence of iron. In the natural universe, nickel and iron are by all accounts inseparable cosmic siblings. They are forged together in the cataclysmic stellar nucleosynthesis of massive stars condensed together in the nascent disks around young stars, and alloyed together in planetary cores and meteorites. The cosmic abundance ratio of iron to nickel is consistently around 18 to 1. You simply do not find one without the other in any natural sample from space. Yet 3I Atlas was emitting nickel without a corresponding detectable iron signature. The ratio was inverted, or iron was somehow preferentially suppressed. Keck's measurements indicated nickel emission at 4.6 GS, with iron below detection limits. This observation doesn't align with our understanding of how comets work. It mirrors instead the outcome of industrial refinement processes. The implications for Mars are substantial. As 3I Atlas swept past on October 3rd, it wasn't a clean flyby. The comet's plasma tail, a dynamic stream of ionized gas propelled outward by solar wind and radiation pressure, extends for millions of kilometers behind the nucleus. Mars's orbital velocity is 24 kilometers. The comet was traveling at 65 kilometers relative to the Sun. The geometry of their encounter meant that Mars effectively plowed through this ionized tail, moving across the stream of charged particles ejected from the comet. For an estimated 6 to 8 hours on October 3rd and 4th, Mars's upper atmosphere was immersed in an exotic soup of ionized water molecules, nickel ions, cyanide radicals, and other organic volatiles that Keck and Swift had been tracking for weeks. A portion of this material was captured by Mars's tenuous atmosphere. Some was deflected by the planet's weak localized magnetic fields, and some pretty.
Di, I'm going to go with Amos early. We relate more to him than anyone else in regards to this. No, hang on, didn't load. Right, hang on. Here we go.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location, somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. We'll get into first a word from our trusted sponsor. Let me ask you something. If you built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want all of it riding on it, the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investments grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer your questions.
Hey, Vars, good to see you, mate.
Simple, safe, easy. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to protect what you built. Folks, gold right now is at an all-time high, $34.91, $3,491 as of September 1st, 2025. Peggy and I invested in it a few years ago. I am really glad we did. Once again, that's noblegoldinvestments.com. noblegoldinvestments.com. Tell them you're
Marzulli's got 2 episodes on AI Atlas, and they go for 40 minutes each. So he must know what he's talking about. This will be interesting because I think it is a mothership, guys. I really do.
heard it from L.A. Marzulli. Thank you.
All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm with L.A. Marzulli, which is world-renowned researcher. You know, I started following you way back in the day, L.A. I've been a big fan of yours. I really do appreciate your work. And I love that you're a Christian, right? And I really give you a lot of credit for helping my faith along with this.
Hi, Shawnee. And Vars, if you buy the gold, you go and try and collect it. When the crap hits the fan, you go and try and cash the gold in. It's not going to work. It's just a smurfy. Is that the right word?
Traditorin, because you know I was in a time of my life where I was having a lot of doubts, right? And that I feel that's been proven without a doubt. That is,
I do too.
Guys, your calling card, and I mean that's up for another show, whatever. But
Sure.
You know, but you are to me my go-to guy. You know, when it comes to faith and the paranormal, the ufology, the whole thing. I go to you and I say, how does this add up, LA? Anyway, Ellie, we had a well. First of all, thank you for being here.
Well, it's an honor, and thank you for the kudos. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read this out real quick, folks. While you're distracted by headlines like these, the insiders are getting.
I remember LA had his house burned down. He lost all his trinkets and that. That's probably about 5 years ago.
Already, billionaires, big banks, even foreign governments are hoarding gold. You know, the dollar is being devalued. They know the next crash is coming. So why don't you own what they're buying? Noble Gold Investments makes it simple to protect yourself with the same investment grade gold and silver. The elites are stockpiling real assets you can hold in your hand or keep saving in your retirement account. Don't wait until it's too late. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com right now, folks.
We won't be here long enough to retire properly.
Get started on that. Actually, I guess you got something a little more rare that he holds in his hand. Do you want to show it?
Yeah, this is a piece from the Roswell crash and the debris field. I went out there with Chuck Zukowski and Frank Kibler. We had metal detectors, and we found actually 2 pieces that day. We're the only film company that's ever recorded it coming out of the ground. Out of the ground. It was buried about 8 inches down. And thank you, Frank. Thank you, Chuck. And my business partner, Gil Zimmerman, and I have the whole thing. It's on film. And let me just show you something. The cover, this is the piece, and it's in the palm of my hand right there.
You know for a fact that's what I guess it would be. You were out there in the area scanning the whole radius, right? Of the area looking for.
Yeah. And
it'd be, but you've done tests on it, experiments on it.
This is a piece of a metal, a nail, a 12-inch metal.
Diane, I'm not sure what the Bible says about God and silver. Gold and silver. What does it say? I'm not aware of it.
spike, which the powers that be pounded these in the debris field to throw off the metal detectors. Oh, what?
I hope there'll be a black market anyway, because I won't be getting the mark.
Wow. Why would they do that? So Frank Kimbler has been out there.
Hey,
a
James,
gazillion
where's
times,
your?
and he knew where to go. He knew where to take us outside, the perimeter where they spiked the field. So that's what we did. And lo and behold, he found two very close to each other. And he even said, if you find one, there's usually another
What
one
happened to your
out
wrench?
there
Hang on, let me
30
check it
miles
out.
And we're the only film company, those are Minjit Peterson and myself, to actually show it being dug up out of the ground. We had it tested at a lab in Los Angeles. It's an aluminum alloy, but it's right in between two known aluminum alloys. So more testing needs to be done, and we'll see what happens.
Do you think it's intelligent or like artificial intelligence? Do you think like have you tried to put heat on it or microwave it or?
I don't want to do that unless I'm with somebody who really knows what they're doing. But we want to do that with this piece of metal. Absolutely.
Is there any etching on it or writing on it, or is it?
What was interesting?
Oh, it does say that. That's right.
You
Gets thrown in the streets. That's right, Di.
look at it, you know something's up.
James, I gave you your wrench back. I don't know where it went.
But when you're down 300 or 400 times magnification under a scanning electron microscope, the metal is folded in on itself. It's folded in. How is that even possible? And I'm not making this up, it's all on film. So our batteries, we have the DSL cameras, and the batteries are fully charged, 99, 100%, and we're out filming in the debris field, just like that. The batteries get drained, just like that. We go back, put new batteries in, go back and pick it up. I've seen this before on other sites. That's a very charged site. Something happened there, but it's a skip site. In other words, the craft came in like this. It hit the ground and exploded, and then went another 17 miles before it came to a rest. So when Jesse Marcel goes there, he never sees this.
Like skipping a rock across the ocean, but that one went for 17 miles. Wow.
He never sees the UFO. That's other people see that. He never sees it. But he picks up the metal and he wakes up his wife when he gets back in town and his son Jesse Marcel Jr. And the rest of it is history. It's a weather balloon.
James, it's just for links, wrench. When it comes to timing people out, we do with that.
Nonsense. Absolutely nonsense.
They drove in those nails to purposely set off or throw off the metal detectors. How many nails do you know they put out there?
I have no idea, but I'm going by what Frank Kimbler told me. And what's interesting is it makes perfect sense because they didn't get all of it, and they know they didn't get all of it. See, they didn't realize that when this thing exploded, these pieces of metal came out like bullets out of a 22 and embedded themselves. It's been like 70 years. That piece of metal sat in the ground for 70 years. We found it. We took it off. It's in the palm of my hand. You can see it right here. We washed it off. It's all on film. We washed it off, and there it is. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's just unbelievable.
And that metal thing obviously goes through hyperspace, correct? I mean, that's what that does. It's going through some kind of dimensional. And it's not. It's able to.
What seems to be going on with these UFOs after them? What do you call them? Drones 6 months ago, where one got caught in a tree. That they must produce steel. Like these entities, they must grow skin like steel, because that's what's sort of happening here.
To travel through space, whatever those dimensional portals or whatever. That's just crazy. Let's get into this because you watched the 3i Atlas video I did with. I asked you to watch it. I wanted to get your response on it. Now, David Sarita has contacted me and said, "Hey, I got kind of, I want your audience to know. I know you have a big Christian audience. I want them to know that I too am a Christian." So he made that very clear. I just want to give that to my audience. He did write me that and say that he is a Christian. But you watched this video. What did you gather from it? I mean, does it hold any water? I mean, it seems to me like this 3i Atlas. We all know what's coming, but I kind of feel like it would be used. First of all, I don't know if I believe that any alien craft will just be, using a propulsion system, or maybe they're I don't know anything. But what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on the video I recorded? And those who are just watching this, go watch the video. Go watch the 3 Ayala's video. Decoded it. David Sarita believes that he decoded the comet, the ship, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead, Ali.
Well, but first of all, I don't want.
We sort of knew that anyway, Diane. Early in the day when they'd show investments for gold and that, we knew about it.
To disparage David Surya. He's not here to defend himself, so we're not going to throw David under the bus. And the other woman, Christine, Carrie. So we're not going to do that, but I have a different opinion. I have a different take. First of all, Avi Loeb, with all due respect to Mr. Loeb, he has not said and stated that this thing is an extraterrestrial craft. He stated it might be, it could be. And out of a 10, he's got the Loeb's.
The fact that it even could be is pretty stunning. Think about it, guys.
Kind of self-serving. I won't go there. But, but there's 10 points, and this, whatever it is a 4. And maybe he's upped it from a 3 to a 4 to get some interest. I don't know. I don't know Mr. Loeb's mind. I can't put words in his mouth. And again, I won't disparage him. But we don't know what this thing is. We really don't. Nobody does. And I do find it interesting that, according to David Sarita, that this thing is going to be.
The next one I'm going to play after this is LA, Missouri as well. And it's like 3 or 4 months later. So he's all caught up with it.
Arriving at certain points at certain time of the feast days. But Sarita is all over the map, in my opinion, as is, your woman guest, Carrie, all over the map. And they are, in my opinion, completely entrenched in New Age philosophy. They mention the Anunnaki. They talk about Buddha's birthday, Muhammad's birthday. It's this big, everybody's thrown into this big cosmic melting pot, as it were.
And as if like it's the all religions are right.
Exactly.
They're all so. In other words, the comet is just reaffirming that every religion is true in its own way. And that's what I got from it.
And this is what I call the coming great deception. I mean, I've written about this a bit, for decades and warned about it. That when it.
This is how you'd start Project Bluebeam. This is how you do it.
To show up, this is exactly what they're going to say. And both David Sarita and Carrie were saying essentially the same thing, that, Buddha and Krishna, Muhammad and Jesus, they're all avatars. They're not really gods. Don't go there. The Anunnaki were here before any of these people, but the Anunnaki are just fallen angels. It's pre-flood stuff. It's Genesis 3:15, Genesis 6. And Dr. Mike Heiser, we were never really close. He wrote some hit pieces on me. He passed away a few years ago. So I won't disparage Heiser, but here's the deal. Mike has this wonderful thing on his website, Sitchin is Wrong, www.Sitchin is Wrong. You can go to the actual clay tablets yourself and see what they're talking about with all this stuff. And so Heiser challenged him to a debate, Sitchin wouldn't do it, but go to the site, Sitchin is Wrong, and see, ancient aliens and others, they constantly promulgate the Anunnaki. And yeah, there you go. Sitchin is Wrong. And when you go there, and Mike Heiser shows you how to do it, you can actually go and see for yourself what this is talking about. Because in Heiser's view, it's a complete mistranslation. And I concur. But this is what they say, the New Agers and people who have this sort of a New Age cosmology, which both guests on your show, in my opinion, because they just put everything into some sort of
Constituted all religions together. They're not going to serve it to the public, and aliens are coming here. I would agree. I mean, even though David Sarita did contact me and say he's a Christian, I kind of took that away as well. Like, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I get what you're saying. Correct.
I mean, I also took, and I'm sorry about his deceased wife. I find that very, very difficult. That's got to be a very difficult time for him. And again, but the dead does not speak to us. And if it does, anybody who has a word from a dead relative, wife, husband, or otherwise, that's essentially necromancy. and it's not done unless there's some sort of a door that's open. Now, if it's a dream, that's a different deal. And I don't know whether David had a dream with a voice. I don't know. But I'm very suspect of just that in itself. I'm also suspect of in the way that all these dates come up and to the Jewish calendar and feast days and Buddha's birthday and Muhammad's birthday and all this stuff and Jesus' resurrection. Again, it's this big melting pot amalgamation of all the world's religions, which is exactly what I have warned against for decades. When and if they do show up, and they will show up at some moment, whether it's this or something else, they are going to make themselves known. I just did a show, a couple of, and I don't think it's posted yet, but Peggy, my wife, was driving from Lake Erie back to Pittsburgh area, where her family is. They went up to look at real estate up there, maybe buy a summer home. Her sister wanted to buy a summer home. Didn't happen. But on the way back, there's the UFO right.
Hi, Liz. How are
Right in
you?
front of the
What are
car.
you?
I mean, it's in the
That's because you
distance.
didn't come back.
It's long,
Okay.
cylindrical.
Wanna know?
It's not a blimp. It's moving
I
very,
gathered
very
that he
slowly.
hasn't been
Definitely
here
not a
for the
blimp.
last.
And she
How
took two
long?
pictures of it.
Month,
Um,
bit longer.
the UFO
Did you try
phenomenon is
everything
real.
that
I want you
looked
to look
for
at this. This is our 10 bucks DVD
All I can
set.
do.
This
I
is the
read
converged
the other- are you
UFO
on-
right
Are
there.
you streaming?
I think it's the best picture ever
I read the
taken.
other day that
of
when
a
they
UFO.
go missing,
It shows the two
they're
entities
usually no
inside
more
the
than about
UFO.
100
And
meters.
it's a
So you
converged
have to
UFO.
knock on people's
Dr. Roger
doors
there took
when
that
it
picture
happens
a while,
and
over a
ask them
decade
to
ago.
please check
Richard
their
Shaw, my
garages,
late business
please
partner,
check the yard.
actually had the original film
But
Okay.
it's too late now.
from Dr.
Yeah, okay.
Roger Lear. He went over it frame by frame.
They normally
So
don't
we
go
know-
very far
Yeah, there you
in
go.
the start.
So we
And
know
then
that the film
It's
is
been too
real.
long.
It's not doctored. It's not Photoshop.
Okay,
The
I won't
critics say,
bring him
"Oh,
up
it's this,
again.
it's that." Excuse me.
Huh?
We
won't
broke the
bring him
story
up
in our
again.
Watchers
He
film
kept him
series.
inside.
I learned that lesson
Ask
We
now.
broke the story in it.
Yeah.
Dr. Roger
Do
Lear is on the
not
record
let him
in
outside.
that film.
I
He's
get
also
paranoid
our
of Scrappy out there during the day.
set, saying that, look,
It's
I was
not
there.
safe.
And
No.
this is the best, some of the
If
best.
someone
footage
kidnapping the
ever
cats.
taken. We know
Yeah.
that the
It's not
phenomenon
safe
is
for
real.
them.
We
At
know
least when
that
they're
Congress is
You know
talking
where they
about
Yeah.
are.
And they're
And
not fighting to
supposedly,
get out anyway.
this week,
No,
there's
It's not
going
like
to
they
be some
miss
sort
it.
of a intel
Exactly.
drop.
But
and who
once
knows?
they're
It's a
out,
dog and pony show.
they're used
They
to it.
haven't said
So if
anything
you keep
that I
mine have
don't
never
know,
been out.
except
So they
David
don't
Rush,
even care
stating on
what's
the
out there.
record
Yeah, right.
for the first time, I
They've
mean
got
officially on the
Ebola,
record.
which is all
I've known about this for
Done you?
decades.
That's what we're
Now
going
it's
to do.
officially on the record in
But they
Congress
don't miss it
that
because
we
they
have
don't go
trained
out there.
retrieved
Yeah.
non-human
My
biologics
eldest
from these
two are
crashed
11. They've never
UFOs.
been out.
Now that's big because now that's on the official record.
Okay.
It's there, but these people are
My
being
point's
threatened.
made.
There's no
It
doubt
is
about
I
it.
indeed.
noticed in the UFO community, I've dabbled in it a little bit. I've gone to some MUFON conventions. I've done a couple of those things way back in the day. But I noticed that everyone is right and everybody else is wrong. You know, that's what I've noticed about this community is I'm right, you're wrong. It's this, it's that, and that's what I'm seeing. Oh, they're the Pleiadians, or it's always something that goes with their belief. It's kind of like also the Bible. How people interpret the Bible. It's I noticed that within this community, but but I believe if the government's bringing it to us, then it's obviously a psyop, man, and it's going to be used to control humanity or use it. They're not bringing it out for our own good. They're going to do it to bring in control, global dominance, global prison planet, or a one world government. That's what I think is coming from this, and I think it's all deception. And I don't believe, and if the beings have been here, they've been here for millennia, they've been here forever, and they're not just going to all say, you know what, let's show ourselves they're ready, let's do it. It's not. I don't see it happening like that, but I see the government doing it like that to control us. Am I right?
Well, I think in part they are. In part you are, definitely. But this goes back to the whole Genesis 3:15 narrative, where the seeds are mingling, where they're creating these hybrid entities, which is really the essence of my work that I've been doing for decades. It all goes back to Genesis 3:15. Jesus is in the garden. He says to the dragon, your seed, your offspring will be at war with the offspring of the woman. And that's exactly what happens. It's like 6 chapters later, we get the whole Genesis 6 narrative, and these hybrid beings, the Nephilim, are walking on the earth, which is a result of the flood. Then Jesus says it'll be like the days of Noah when he returns. What differentiates the days of Noah? The Nephilim are on the earth. So we know that the phenomenon is real. It's burgeoning, not going away. We know that UFOs are there. We know that people have retrieved UFOs. 1947 Roswell crash. Too many deathbed confessions from people. The Telegram. I mean, it's all in our 2 films on Roswell. We don't have time to dissect every little bit. But I believe when I wrote about it, again, another shameless plug. Look, there's 32 films and 15 books. I can't apologize for that. So we have an hour together, and I got. If you want to do a deep dive, get this or get the 10-box DVD set. But the runs of disclosure, I posit. Now there's only 17 runs in that book. It was published last October. We're coming up on a year. If we go to runsofdisclosure.com, there's actually 21 runs now on the ladder. So from 17, we're up another 4 runs for crying out loud, and it's going up. And with the Anna Polito clip that I showed just recently, it's almost another run. I think we're going to get another run on the ladder this week.
Well, David Sarita said that Anna Paulina said that we're going to actually, which sounds just outrageous to me, film this comet or ship when it's going away out of the solar system, because we have cameras on what planet? What is it? Which one is the one that's exiting on the 26th, December 26th? It's leaving our solar system, and we're going to take film of it on the outer parts of the solar system. I can't buy it. Oh, yeah. I can't buy it, man. I'm sorry. I just don't think was even saying this.
Well, I mean, the thing is, look, if this thing comes in and it stops, okay, everybody sit up, and pay attention. I get that. But that's not what we're looking at. And just because this thing allegedly, hits all these festivals, birthdays, feast days, markers, yeah, thank you. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, to me, it's interesting. And look, this is where I'm at with this kind of stuff. You keep it on the back burner. Just like there's rapture fever going through the Christian community. Oh, we're gonna get beamed up on the 23rd. Jesus is coming back. He might be coming back. I don't know that. Okay. I pray to God it is the 23rd, because we're at the window of time where you can't fix this anymore. You and I have talked about this with AI and all the stuff that's going on. I get it. All the markers are.
I agree. It's too late now. Look at America. America's not going to recover. Britain's burning because of the protests against the Muslims. It's too late. The West has fallen, and so is the East.
Here for the rapture of the church. But I'm not a day setter. I have no idea. My hand is on the plow. I'm working on films. I'm working on books. I'm doing shows like this. We're focused. It's on the back burner. And that's how I am. Remember the first asteroid, whatever it was, that came in, and Avi Loeb was saying, well, it might be an alien probe or something. What was it? Oumuamua?
Yeah.
Oumuamua.
I mean, I remember these things happening since Heaven's Gate. And I remember.
Well, that's the everything, right? Right. It's at Heaven's Gate. And look what happened to them, right? Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid, folks.
Kind of like the same thing to me. I don't know.
You put it on the back burner. That's how I view all this stuff. I mean, the rapture of the church, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah, the hidden day, all that. People even know about it. They need to know what the Bible says about the rapture, because it is an event, and I think it could be very soon. Could be the September 23rd. Why not? I applaud that. But I don't.
Shawnee, I love a Caesar salad. It's my favorite salad.
Don't live my life, having that rule my life. Just like I don't have this, whatever this thing is out there and coming, I keep an eye on it, but that's it.
But couldn't let's just say hypothetically couldn't the government?
Hey Talia, good to see you.
They're purposely putting these out on the media syndicates, and as it approaches, they'll put more and more out, and then they use some kind of technology to show it in the sky and show it in over certain cities, and then they use the alien card. Then I mean, Hillary Clinton is on a record saying, "Is it time to use the
alien card?" Right now,
so does that mean? Come on, I mean, if there's any time to use it, I would think now. They're about to get arrested. I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't it be now the opportune time to do it?
Well, that's a very interesting point. Look, we know that there's craft. We know it because it crashed in Roswell. I just showed you the Kumbergaz UFO. We know that these things are real, burgeoning, not going away. But there's a cat and mouse game. Commander David Fravor said that whatever this thing was not from this Earth. Yes, of a secret program, space program. People say that they've been to Mars and back again, but you can't vet any of this stuff. What we can vet is that this is real. And I can tell you something, and I got props all over my desk, but in the book, the last rung on disclosure, number 18, but now it's number 30, let's say, because it hasn't happened yet. If you have a nuclear event, and I've talked to you about this before, if you have a nuclear event that goes off anywhere on this planet, it creates the greatest climate of fear that mankind has ever experienced collectively. Back to Carrie and David Sarita, who were talking about, this amalgamation, this cosmic soup of all these different avatars and religions and everything dovetailing together. What happens if there's a nuclear event that goes off on this planet? It changes everything. It creates the greatest collective fear that humanity has ever experienced in all of history. That's when they show up, and they will say, to David Serrata's point,
After the last Hiroshima Nagasaki bomb.
absolutely,
Is that right?
oh, absolutely, yeah, Roswell 47, Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And guess where Roswell was? Roswell was at the 509th Bombing Group. And what was the 509th Bombing Group? Those were the guys that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Really?
Oh,
That's why they're at Roswell.
wow. I never knew that. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's all in our film.
So they're trying to time this. The elites, let's say, the people that are going underground in bunkers, whatever. They're trying to time this. They're trying to kick off World War III and then time it with an alien kind of interruption or alien. No, I wouldn't say invasion, but kind of like a hello, we're here. You guys are killing each other. Let us rule your planet. We're your
Okay,
gods.
I'm not
We
gonna
see
run.
you. Man, they get it all done in one big whop. Like the right thing.
That's what the end game is, in my opinion. And I talked about this at the.
The trouble right now kicking off World War.
Well, because you got a guy in the White House who doesn't want to do that. Isn't that interesting, right?
Oh,
And this will be their
man.
play.
Well, something is in the wind. Something is about to happen.
I know.
I just feel it in my spirit. Maybe it's the spaghetti and meatball dinner I had a couple of nights ago, which is giving me heartburn and keeping me up. Maybe that's what I'm feeling. I don't know. I say that glibly, but I just have this feeling, this apprehension that something is coming and it's not good. Now I could be, all wet in the head. Seriously, I don't know. But that's just where I'm
The
at.
same thing. I was that my audience feels it the same way. Audience, if you feel it, put a thumbs up. Let me know if you kind of have that sneaky suspicion. That's what Joe Brown says. Sneaky suspicion. I don't know. I feel it. I know my audience feels it. So, do you think before 2030, before 2032, like if you had a time frame, what would you say? What window would you give it?
I think we're going to see something soon. Next month, 2 months, 3 months before the end of the year. I think it's still, the fall. I think it's
Alien? Or are you saying?
I don't know.
Thor?
I don't know. All this. Look, this is what we do know. Jesus warns us that there'll be wars and rumors of wars, famines and pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places, troublesome time. All of that punch list is full tilt boogie, if I can use that expression. I mean, it's all firing on all 8 cylinders. I'm mixing metaphors here, but it's true. It's all wars and rumors of wars, famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places, troublesome time. We're here. Jerusalem is a cup of trembling to the entire world. Go back to 150 years ago, nobody could care about Jerusalem. Go back 1,000 years. Well, okay, you have the Crusades. I get that. 1,000 years ago. But nobody cared. 200 years ago, nobody cared about Jerusalem. Now it's a cup of trembling. Ain't going away. Are we looking at prophecy being fulfilled? Isaiah 17.
Yep, we are looking at prophecy being
Possibly.
fulfilled.
Very possibly. And maybe soon. This is why we watch and we don't put a date on something and we don't get everybody up
James, I remember them days if you got caught smoking.
all worked up. That's hyperbole. But we watch with cool heads
Hello, Lisa. Welcome to the channel.
and a calm spirit. And okay, this thing's coming in. Is it, what is it? We don't know. We don't know. If we're all honest, we don't know.
Even when David Sarita was showing me the trajectory of this thing, I'm like, but where can we even trust the site he's getting it from? I mean, I don't trust NASA at all. I think I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't believe any of this. Some photos they show us is all CGI. I mean, everything I look at, I'm like, okay. I take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm sorry, I just do.
Well, and that's problematic because we're at the point in history where you don't know what you're looking at anymore because of CGI. You don't know any AI.
Lisa, look at all the blood moons and eclipses that have been happening since 2017. There's probably been a dozen blood moons, everything. full moons.
AI, exactly. You don't know. The odds are stacked against us. There's no way to tell what's real, what's not. Exactly, which is why, in my opinion, he has to come back and take us out of here. How can you be accountable for something where you can't be? You don't know what you're looking at. Somebody sent me what looked like Stephen Greer, and Greer was stating in this meme that something was going to happen in 72 hours. Some kind of disclosure. So that hasn't happened. So was that completely made up? More than likely.
Yeah.
I looked at it; it looked like CGI to me, or AI generated. But this is where we are. I mean, anybody can say anything, and you don't know.
There's an AI avatar of me going around where people are actually think are trying to swindle him out of or trying to get them to go into this stuff.
Them AI avatars, I don't think they look like a real person. If you watch them properly, the voice isn't coming from there. It's just, I just don't think it's a real person.
I just saw that. It's just crazy, man. So let me ask you something else then. This 3-eye Alice. Can you explain? Because and I agree with you what this means. Because I think the title of it, the name of this comet or ship or whatever, holds a lot of water on this. You want to go ahead and go into that?
Lisa, last night we just had we had the Southern Aurora, Southern Borealis or something. We had a big shower last night, a big Northern Lights shower.
I'd love to. This is conjecture. Underline the word conjecture. I can't prove it, but
Yes, Diane, I got caught smoking in school a couple of times. And I bet you did too.
heard, 3-eye Atlas, kind of went, gee, what an odd name, Why did they name it that? So I sat on that for a while and ruminated on it. And so let's walk through it. Atlas is a Nephilim.
Yeah.
Good God. He's a Nephilim. And what is he doing? Atlas is being cursed, and he's holding the earth, which is not it's not a plane, it's not flat, because it's a globe. He's not holding up a pizza, he's holding up a globe. So first of all, whatever this thing is, it's going to be a global event.
Lisa, one of the blood moons in Australia, seriously, it wasn't red, it was gold. It shined like gold. And I come and looked it up, and there is gold moons for red moons on really rare occasions. But I weren't sure that I was actually seeing gold. So I took Mum out and gave her, said, is the moon gold or is it just my imagination? So I was right, the moon was gold. So it just doesn't go blood red. It actually can go gold.
Conjecture. Please remember, this is conjecture. So 3-eye. What is 3-eye? Third eye. Third eye. What is a third eye?
Oh, g'day, Lobo. Welcome back, mate.
Enlightenment. But it's a false enlightenment because I've already done all that. I was with a guru. My third eye was open. Yeah, you see stuff. Yeah, you can pop in, all that kind of stuff. You can have spirit guides. It never deals with the sin nature. Only Christianity deals with the sin nature. And most people don't want to hear about the sin nature. But it's there, and it's in you, and it's in me. It makes people really uncomfortable. But so what is this? Third Eye Atlas. It's a global event. It's a global enlightenment event. Everybody on the earth is touched with this in some way. Interesting. Folks, put that on the back burner. Don't run with it.
Lisa, it was stunning. It was stunning. The gold moon. It was stunning. I couldn't believe what I saw. That's why I took Mum and my wife out to look at it.
I'm not saying that, but I, just put it on the back burner. It could be. Then again, most likely it's not. That's just how I'm reading it. But they always telegraph, don't they? It's funny when you look at the 2024 Super Bowl app. Hello down there. It is absolutely in your face. They are telegraphing full disclosure, and it's a global event. And it's a global event.
Predicted, and also, not to mention just the Super Bowl. What is it? Halftime show?
Yeah, it's the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show. Hello down there. It's on YouTube. The 2024.
They do that with the Olympics as well. Do satanic rituals.
But I mean, also the predictive programming with Ancient Aliens.
Well, Ancient Aliens has been talking about this, the arrival
Talia, I didn't. I didn't think to. I'm sort of lightheaded like that. I didn't think to take a photo. I should have though.
I mean, the movie like The Arrival and all this other stuff. They're constantly throwing this up to the public, so the public is numb to it. Oh yeah, you know, it's like the late Dr. Roger Leary used to make a joke,
Talia, I see so much. I get blasé to other things.
and he said, you know, if a UFO landed on the 405 freeway, everybody would be ticked off because they're getting home late for dinner. No one cares about and he's right. I mean, it was a little glib, tongue in cheek on his part, but in some ways, he's absolutely right. You know, it's like we've been so inundated with it that nobody cares. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you should roll that clip.
It's showing you off.
Yeah. I'll walk you through as you're doing it. This is a global event. So there's the UFO in New York City, right over the skyline, mile-wide UFO. She sees that proof of extraterrestrial, doesn't want that.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. So she's too consumed with
the phone, right? Too consumed with the phone, and she's happy now because she's watching the cat play with the toilet paper and all that stuff, and they're trying.
Die! I knew someone would pick that up. Okay, it's not my wife. She's my common law wife.
Right. But directly over her head is a mile-wide UFO. Now it switches to Paris, France. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Texas. Oh, you're going too fast. What happened?
Yeah, but look, everyone's on their phones.
Everyone's on their phones. That's all. No one's looking up. Nobody's doing anything. Celebrity bacon diet. And meanwhile, a dog in a pickup truck is looking up, barking because there's a UFO over the head. In Paris, France, if you scroll back a little.
James, bushfire smoke also makes the moon turn really red. Bushfire smoke.
Bit. In Paris, a little further. Should be right before that. Oh boy, that's a different ad. That's really different. Well, that's interesting because it's supposed to go to
Lobo. I think there's something behind this, Atlas. I think it might be a mothership. I lean towards that than a comet because it's doing things a comet's never done. It's ejecting enough water that it must produce its own on board.
It goes to France. So keep scrolling. Maybe they change it. Oh yeah, this is only 30 seconds. This isn't the real one. That's why. It's a global event. They go to France and the UFO hovering over the Eiffel Tower. Everybody's on their cell phone, tablets, computers. Nobody's looking. Finally, the alien presses a button, hello down there, and everybody's cell phone, tablet goes, hello down there, and you see the aliens waving like this. In other words, they're telling us that, look, there it is. It's a minute and a half commercial at the Super Bowl. Millions and millions of dollars. There he goes. Notice the elongated skull. Hello down there. There's everybody's phone. Everybody. Now watch her face when she looks up. Oh, wonder. Right? And then because this is the end. They basically cut a minute out of the whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I get your point. Right.
Right? There it is. There it is. That's predictive programming, correct? Yeah, that's predictive programming.
Are you ready for this, or are they just saying, or are they saying the obvious, where everyone's just on their phones too much? But that's not what it is. No, they're saying they're programming people.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. And notice her fate, and just like the Super Bowl where everyone was sick in their beds, and then 2020 happened, and they went to that, but they don't know if this happened. Yeah, isn't that interesting, right? They telegraphed it.
Yes,
they telegraphed it. They have to. There's some.
Tell us before they do it. Why is that? Why?
Because the protocols of the heavenly war are that. And don't ask me where that's conspiracy theory, LA. You can't possibly prove it. Yeah, but when it happens over and over and over again, you start to go, because it happened at the Super Bowl, right? Or it was the Olympic, the opening ceremony to the
opening ceremony of the Olympic show.
Just watch that. You tell me why are they making this? Why is this? And then you look at the last one, the Last Supper, with all this craziness going on, right? So what are they accused of? Yeah, wacky stuff, right?
Wacky stuff.
They
tell me the alien coming down from the sun or whatever it was. There you go. Yeah, predictive programming right there again.
And I know we've got our tinfoil hats on. I'm going to put mine on now. You know, I mean, there you go, right? And it's the sea. You know, you talk about those. No, you absolutely, you got to. When we start talking about this stuff, but the bottom line is this: something is coming, something is happening, and some of these people that are in charge or were in charge, are there ties to the Luciferian elite? People can poo-poo that, but in my opinion, they are. You know, the Third Reich was never talked about, really. They were steeped in the occult, steeped in the occult. I mean, to the point where there was a castle in Germany, I forget the name of it. It's Russ Dizdar was there and actually prayed down in the, not the dungeon, but the lower ritualistic chamber. For the first time, he sat there and prayed for like 20 minutes. They used to have the skulls of the Nephilim in these little niches all the way around. Above it is
Himmler was in charge of this castle. That's where they'd go and do their rituals to the Black Sun and things like that.
the Black Sun.
There you go, bingo.
These guys were steeped in the occult. They knew who it was that they served. And the problem with Operation Paperclip at the end of World War II, all those Nazi scientists came in. Not all of them were steeped in the occult. I get that. But how many of them were? And why did we take this poison literally into our country? And ever since then, things have been a little wonky. I mean, I think we can all admit that, right?
100%.
James, that's also India, where the sand's been vitrified. It's been hit with heat and turned into glass, which they say were the Vimanas with nuclear weapons, and it completely makes sense.
Just a little wonky. And, you know, now we're in 2025. You get the 2024 Super Bowl thing. Is that predictive programming? Well, in my opinion, it is. And notice when she looks up, she's like this. She's like, her face is one of wonder. She's not afraid. She's like, oh my gosh, they're here. And what was David Sarita and Carrie saying, you know, that this whole amalgamation of all the different religions, it's when they show up, that's what the other side of the aisle believes. And that's what they've been promulgating for decades. And of course, that's what they're going to believe. As a Christian, we don't. There's only one God.
We believe it's going to be deception.
It's total deception. Jesus says,
Talia, every sun has a binary sun next with it. So our binary sun is the Black Sun, also known as Nibiru, also known as Planet X, as far as I'm aware.
let no man deceive you. Even the elect would be deceived. That Satan, the dragon, comes with all signs and lying wonders. Folks, whatever is coming is beyond anything you can even imagine. And, you know, they can have Project Bluebeam till the cows come home. Hey, it's going to pale in comparison. Look, if you get mile wide craft, and this is why the 2024 Super Bowl is so important, you showed a little clip of it. But the bottom line is, you get mile wide craft over the cities of the world, everything's off. You remember how COVID shut everything down? That's exactly what would happen. Everything grinds to a stop. No one goes to work. The leaders of the world come together. You know, they start going, you know, you can't, and this will happen right after a nuclear event. That's when I think that's the trigger. A nuke goes off, and that's when they show up en masse over the cities of the world. Hey, wait a minute, guys. So we created you.
So, but see, I still think it's us. I still think it's going to be us. It's going to be our governments that come together. Okay, let's set off the nuke and then send in the spaceships. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Yeah, but it can't be global. They could do it over one or two cities, but not global.
Yeah, but if all the TV stations and the internet and all streams are recording it, there it is. So what do you think about this thing having a... So this is what I'm confused about. This 3i Atlas has a light source. I thought all comets have a light source.
All comets have a tail. So let's say here's the comet. They have a tail like this. This, whatever this thing is, doesn't have a tail. So let's say now it's here, coming this way, right? It's got a light source in front of it, going like this. One thing I found interesting from David Sarita, where he talked about this person with a very high-powered telescope that took a shot of it, and this thing looked like, some sort of a craft. It did not look like a comet at all. Remember that? I thought that was really interesting. Really interesting.
I'm gonna ask you something probably so amateur, but I've never gotten a real response or someone educated. Like for me, they always sidestep the question. I want to know from you: isn't space a vacuum?
Space is a vacuum.
Okay, this is a good question. I'm guessing he's going to go with how to get propulsion in a vacuum then. Let's see what he says.
But here's something to think about. What if we live in some sort of a holographic universe, right? What if that's a lot?
But hold on, that adds up to me, and I always feel like too, the sun could be a portal. All right, I think all this stuff is because doesn't fire need oxygen to burn? So if how is the sun? I'm just saying, how's anything burnt
Gee, that's a good question.
being in a vacuum?
Well, that's beyond. I get it. That's beyond my pay grade. But the sun.
But that's a valid question, correct?
It is,
and
yeah.
And how
Damn
does
good
the sun
question.
even, I mean, when you look at just our little goofy solar system, it makes sense to me. That makes no sense to
One
anyone.
thing I asked everyone, I go, how does anything burning in the space?
Fire needs oxygen. Why isn't the sun with oxygen? Geez, that's a good point.
When it's supposedly a vacuum? It needs oxygen to burn. So, excuse me, I don't know. I may sound dumb right now to a lot of people, but is that an intelligent question? Or is it a sense question?
No, it is, and this is why. I mean, there's something I say all the time. No one knows what this is or where we are in it. Nobody knows.
I agree.
Nobody knows.
That's why I think NASA it contradicts itself all the time. I'm like, okay, well.
So, Vash, you're saying the sun doesn't need oxygen. Okay, because it's not actually flames, is it?
I don't know. I do believe, can we just all say we don't know?
Well, that's what we need to do. But
That makes sense, Fast.
circling back to whatever
Gee, you can be very wise sometimes, mate.
is coming in, there seems to be this globe of something in front of it. So there's no tail like a comet. There's something in front of this thing. It's like a heat deal, something. And they were talking about it's CO2 because there's 10 million people on board. This is all conjecture. How do you know there's 10 million people on board that?
Yeah, but how are they measuring that if space is a vacuum?
Well, that's the other thing.
So that's just I don't know.
Let me just do something real quick here. Is space a vacuum? Question mark. The results: yes, space is generally considered a vacuum because its pressure and density of matter are extremely low, making it nearly empty compared to Earth.
Generally considered, so that it's not a slam dunk.
Atmosphere, though it's not a perfect vacuum. While we commonly refer to it as a vacuum, space contains scattered particles, radiation, and fundamental forces with density of these components varying depending on the region, such as interstellar, intergalactic space. So that's kind of interesting. So it's both yes and no. Strictly speaking, space is not a vacuum because there are a few molecules floating around. However, it can also be a vacuum in industrial terms, since it is defined as a pressure of one. So it's the bottom line is,
But they don't know either.
they don't.
Vast, have you seen where they've had hang on.
Nobody.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't know. They didn't really answer.
Yeah, that's right.
Some,
Did you see in some parts of the world it's rained plasma? In India, I saw one specifically on India, and they were catching the rain in buckets, and it was not as red as blood, but not as thick. So they were catching this rain from the sky, and it was actually they tested it, and it didn't have DNA in it, but it was plasma, something like that. It was pretty weird.
something is coming, and I just want to reiterate to our watchers, to your folks and the folks that are watching on our YouTube channel, just see it.
No one's saying you lied, Lobo. I just haven't seen it.
Go where I'm at. Let's start with the rapture. In 1988, there was a gentleman who put out a book, 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will
I don't doubt you saw it, mate. Why would you make it up?
happen in 88. It didn't happen in 1988. It may not happen in 2025. Then again, it could, but I keep my hand on the plow. I do what I do. I get up in the morning. I work hard. I play hard, do the whole deal. I live my life to the fullest, not running off to a mountain. I keep all this Whatever's coming in on the solar system, always on the back burner. I keep an eye on it. I keep an eye on signs of the rapture because we're told to look up. I get that. Watch and be ready. We're admonished. I'm watching. I'm ready. I hope it is on the 23rd of September. But if it's not, I'm not disappointed because I'm not holding this date as it's going to happen here. So there was a gentleman who wrote me some, he had charts and mathematics and all this stuff and all sorts of scripture. And he was saying that the rapture is going to happen tomorrow on September 8th. That's his date setting. And I just, well, thank you for that. I'm not buying into it. I'm watching. I'm ready. I'm looking at the signs. All the signs, in my opinion, are here. We could be in the window where he could take us home. I understand that. I mean, but if you're an amillennialist, if you don't believe in prophecy, then you're not even looking. There's only a remnant of people that are looking. So my final words would be, put it on the back burner, watch, be ready, don't let it run your life. End the story.
LA, do you ever go to Roswell again? Let me up, man. I want to go.
No, we should go. That'd be a hoot.
I mean, let's do it. I would put it on Instagram and everything, man. It would be so fun.
It was, let me tell you a quick story. The month before we went, the Lord had me in Psalm 120.
James, I believe in the secret space program. That series Stargate, I think they've got that technology already because in 42, they made a ship, the Philadelphia, disappear into another dimension and brought it back. So if they could do that in 42, here we are 80 years later, they'd know a lot more. So I think the secret space program's true. Guys, this one's over. I'll do the next one. Oh, it didn't load. Hang on. Hang on, guys. I'll play something until I load it up.
Driving on toll roads should be simple, and yet missed payments can turn into extra fees and stress.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, Elliot Marzulli. We'll get into that first in word from our trusted.
Okay, found it. Hang on. It's not loading. Right, that should be playing now. Yeah, there it is.
Our trusted sponsor. Let me ask you something. If you built up $100,000 or more in investment.
Hang on, I'm trying to. Oh, that's part one. Right. This is a month ago. That was a month ago. Hang on, guys. Okay. Why isn't it loading? Sorry, guys, it's not loading. Hang on. There it is. There it is. Got it.
UFOs are real, versioning, and not going away. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Back from a week off of vacation, but we still do shows anyway because we do a show here every day. And if something really intense happens, I have my cameras with us and we will give you an update. In fact, I did one update from the undisclosed location on the Panhandle in Florida. But we're back in studio, somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains. We're talking about 3I Atlas. And you can see astrophysicist says attack from potentially hostile alien threat could take place in just days. Is this fear mongering? Is it hyperbole? We're going to delve into that. But first, a word from our very trusted sponsor. Folks, a meta-analysis of 23 controlled trials showed that people taking collagen supplements saw real improvements in skin hydration, elasticity, and reductions in wrinkle depth. That means collagen isn't just a beauty fad.
Yeah, James, they've already pulled off interdimensional. Look up the Philadelphia experiment in 1942. They made a battleship with crew on board going to another dimension. When they brought the ship back, the crew were embedded into the walls, into the welding and all that. So they could do that in 42. That was Tesla's technology. They could do that in 42. We're 80 years ahead. They've had all these UFOs to study. You bet I reckon Stargate's true.
It's one of the most studied supplements proven to actually change how your skin looks and feels. This is why I use it every single day. Ageless Multi-Collagen. Folks, I love the way it makes my skin look. It supercharges my skin with 5 types of premium collagen needed to help reduce wrinkles. Since I started drinking collagen daily, I've noticed smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer lines, and a youthful glow. And at 75 years old, plus, it also helps improve my joint health, bone strength, and connective tissues. Grab a bag of Ageless Multi-Collagen, 51% off
You take enough of it, you can fly.
at healthwithla.com. That's www.healthwithla.com and start experiencing real results. Plus, they have a promotion right now that includes free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing.
James, Apollo 11, they couldn't have got through the Van Allen belt. Van Allen belt is full of radiation. They couldn't have got through that. They need special vehicles to do that. And they couldn't do that with Apollo.
Skin. A 60-day, think about this, folks, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free shipping with every order. Once again, folks, healthwithla.com. That's healthwithla.com. Okay, so we have to talk about this because we've never had anything like it that I'm aware of. So we're going to broach the subject. Before I get into that, I was playing golf with
James, I only cough when I have a smoke. Only lasts till I clear my lungs.
my friend Don Coombs, and
I'm 62 years old and been smoking probably since I was 12 years old. So my lungs aren't the best.
Dave Wilkinson. And actually, Dave wasn't with us that day. So it was just Don and me, and this gentleman, won't mention his name, joined us. So we had a threesome. And he was asking, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I make films and write books. And that immediately piqued his interest. And he goes, well, what do you write? What are the films about? I go, well, a lot of things about the Nephilim. And he had no idea what that was. And I said, well, we have a 10-part DVD series on UFOs. And am I kidding you? Don's a witness. He basically took a step back, started looking around. And I went, well, it's okay. We're not going to go there. It's okay. So before I even get to this article, which is the 22nd of October, so it's, it's pretty recent, right? And I want to thank our friend Bill, who sends me stuff all the time. Bill's a friend of the show. And
Yeah, you dobber, Diane. You're a dobber.
and gives me links like this. So let's walk into it if we can. This man on the golf course had been programmed for decades with an ongoing, all types of media, print media, film media, just everything. That if you talk about
And Vash, could Apollo 11 got through the Van Allen belt?
UFOs, you're a tinfoil hat wearing guy, you're a kook, you're a crank, there's something wrong with you. This is why in our abduction film, I did on a rabbit trail here. In our abduction film, the introduction to that abduction film, you hear me talk about people are afraid, people who are abducted are afraid, they're alone, they can't talk to anyone, they live in fear. And where do you go with this? And this guy on the golf course was a perfect illustration of that. The moment I even mentioned UFOs, he took a step back and started looking around. And I've seen this before, so I know what to look for. I know that guys like this have been, and I hate to use the word, but they have been conditioned through the media, all forms of media, that if you talk about the subject, you're a kook, you're a tinfoil hat guy. You're not dealing with full depth. Well, I've been doing this for well over 30 years. And this is the coming great deception. I did a whole presentation at the Property Watchers Conference a while back. By the way, thank you, all the folks at Property
Lobo, there's only 5 here, so yeah.
Watchers that came up to the table, and we really appreciate.
There's only 5 here. If you saw it, see, for the whole lot of us to see it, they'd have to get a lot of airplay in that before we watched it. So we didn't see it, mate. Don't take offense to it.
The fellowship that we had there. Thank you, Bob Ulmer, to Gary Stearman, Madhu Gaza.
We're not disagreeing. We just didn't see it.
Always.
I didn't anyway.
And, you know, all the ladies at Prophecy Watchers are just incredible. Hats are off to them, too. Big shout out to them. But the halls of Congress are talking about this. And at the Prophecy Watchers Conference, I went through this. I said, you know, in Congress just a couple of weeks ago, before the Prophecy Watchers Conference, so in Congress, they showed a clip, and I did a whole show on it here. You can go see it. A UFO is glowing, and it's coming down. They're tracking this thing, and they fire a Hellfire missile at it. The Hellfire missile just glances off of it and breaks apart. How is it possible? How is that possible? And they have no explanation for it. Our military has no explanation for what we are seeing. The fact is, it's a dog and pony show.
See, this is a month later. It's only 2 weeks ago. There's a lot more info. And I usually finish off with Tony. He's got a big thing on Atlas 3 now.
We're really go anywhere, and I'll say it again, what President Trump needs to do, if he really wants to get to the bottom of it, okay, is to get 500 of the best of the best of the best. SEALs, you know, special forces, special ops, the best of the best. Break them up. 250 go to Wright Pat, 250 go to Area 51. As far as I know, there's no sitting president that has ever gone to Area 51. So what's there? Well, you don't have a need to know. Exactly. Need to know basis, and you, Mr. President, have no need to know. Now, that's conjecture on my part. Maybe some of the presidents do know. I have no idea. But right, Pat, we know, and in our film, in our 10-box DVD set, I don't have.
Yeah, that's true, Diane, isn't it? You see Nixon talking to Armstrong on the moon on the phone.
Or you can stream it, streaming at LMRZilly.net. 10-box DVD set.
You're making me laugh today, Di.
For Film on Roswell, we sat down, and I'm doing this interview with a gentleman, and he's talking about the records being flown to Wright Pat. I mean, how many times do we have to hear this before we begin to realize that there is a hidden agenda? The phenomenon is real, and now we have this astrophysicist says attack for potentially hostile alien threat could take place in just days. So before we even get into this, I do not engage in hyperbole like some shows do. I just don't do it. I try to get to the truth of the matter, get to the bottom of what we're seeing, and just the facts. Now, sometimes I go out on a limb. When I do that, I'll say this is conjecture on my part. Like, for instance, when we did our first show on 3i Atlas, I said, well, Atlas is a Nephilim, right? Greek god holding the world on his shoulder. So are they signaling something here with the snake? I don't know. This is conjecture. I'll do it again. 3i, third eye. Are they signaling to us? Are they telegraphing us that this is a global event, Atlas, right? Holding the globe on his shoulder. This is a global event that will enlighten humanity. Now, that's complete conjecture on my part, and I get that. But what if it's true? And this thing is heating up, which is why we're covering it in the first place. The comet 3i Atlas, which many still believe to be a form of alien spacecraft, may reveal its origin as it passes behind the sun out of view. This is the 22nd of October. The potentially hostile alien threat that has been taking the internet by storm since its discovery in July may soon reveal its origin.
Okay, is this one is it a comet? Well, that's debatable. And you say no, mainstream's not talking about it, but they do. They're actually mentioning it.
As it hides behind the sun. 3i Atlas, an incredibly...
It has been on the news a bit, Lobo, enough to make people question. But on social media, it's blown out. It's really gone mad.
The rare comet from outside our solar system has baffled scientists since it was first spotted earlier this year, with many people firmly believing the object to be actual proof of alien life. Now, on Nino Rodriguez's show, there was a gentleman and a woman entrenched in
James.
New Age paradigm, New Age belief, which is fine. Look, we're not going to discredit people on the show. We just
I think they done the moon landing in the Nevada desert, didn't they? It was in one of your deserts they done the moon landing.
don't do that here. You know, we don't go, we just don't do that. They're entitled to believe what they want to believe, okay? If you believe that the Anunnaki are extraterrestrial visitors, that's your belief. I believe that they're fallen angels. In fact, we're going to have a guest on who's written the book on the Anunnaki. And I think you'll find it very interesting when we bring her on. This theory is currently being put to the test as the comet has recently hit solar conjunction, which is a fancy way of describing when a comet or planet is on the opposite side of the sun. So why does this actually matter? Well, how the object, which has previously been confirmed to be a comet, behaves while approaching the sun could help piece together what 3I Atlas is made of. And crucially,
I'm going to play that, Vas. That looks interesting.
provide hints as to where it might have come from. So when comets approach the sun, they get hotter and start releasing volatile gases and dust from their surface, which is exactly what 3I Atlas appears to have done, while 6.4 AU, I mean, that's like a long way away from the sun. For context, Earth is 1 AU away from the sun. So there's still a fair distance between them. As of yesterday, the 21st of October, the comet has been hiding directly behind the sun and completely out of view from the Earth, which is when the object could do something unusual. If alien-like conspiracy theories are to be believed, according to Harvard professor Avi Loeb. Now, let me just stop you there, okay? Stop us there. So how is it that Avi Loeb just ascends? How does that work? And he's all over the media, print media,
Yeah, this is the one guy that pushes it. I don't like to watch his stuff, though, because he sounds like a psyop.
film media, news media, he's everywhere. How does that work? How does someone get anointed like a Dr. Fauci? Now, I'm not comparing Avi Loeb with Dr. Fauci. I'm not trying to do that, okay? What I am saying is this. How is it that all of a sudden Avi Loeb is the spokesperson? How is it that we see, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, and bully for Jeremy, he's a filmmaker who's done a great job with the Bob Lazar film, and George Knapp has been talking about UFOs for decades, and George Knapp was testified in front of Congress a while back. So, but why are these people elevated? And I'm not saying, well, I want to be elevated. I'm not saying that. The Lord has me in a nice little comfortable place.
Yeah.
And if that's we have a following of 256,000 people on YouTube. Our numbers grow. We get emails every single day from people thanking for what we do. So we have a vibrant, ministry. We sound the alarm, right? My hymn is on the plow. But I'm always curious. All of a sudden, Avi Loeb is a household word. How does that happen? A household word, a household name. How does that happen? So let's continue. IFL Science reports that Loeb says that if the object is actually of alien origin, it might choose to do an O-berth maneuver. I have no idea what that is. By using the sun's gravity to alter its course and speed. He wrote in a Q&A that from an engineer's perspective,
Diane, I played with Ouija boards when I was a kid, but gee, it's dangerous, isn't it?
a mothership that releases mini probes will perform this maneuver to slow down at perihelion and intercept Earth. Now, this is way beyond my pay grade. We need Mongo Gonzalez here or Brad Brady here. Both of those guys have telescopes and they're familiar with these terms. I am not. So I'm a neophyte. So let's continue. Taking advantage of the sun's gravitational assist, adding that the amount of power required to perform such a thing depends on the mass of the mini probe, and that the mini probe can potentially reach the Earth within a few months after perihelion. If Loeb's theory is incorrect, and it is indeed a comet, then it would continue on its merry way through the solar system. Frankly, that's what I'm banking on. I don't believe that this is an alien crypt, but I could be wrong, which is why we're covering it. The fact that Avi Loeb is throwing this out, before I left on vacation, before I left to the Prophecy Watchers, we did the PW conference, and then we went for 7 days on the Florida Panhandle, which was just fantastic. I talked about the idea of disclosure, and there was Avi Loeb was on News Nation, and with Elizabeth Vargas, and he was talking about this could possibly be a black swan event. In other words, extinction. So Avi Loeb was talking about a black swan event, and this really rattled Elizabeth Vargas. She was freaked. I'm not going to sleep this weekend, Abby. Thanks a lot. And so, what are we looking at here? Well, we know from the biblical prophetic narrative, my Bible's right here, that number one, the Psalm comes down. Why? Because we have the prophetic thread that goes from Genesis all the way to Revelation. That prophetic thread shows us that someone is outside having trouble this morning. It's been almost 2 weeks since I've done a show. I did one show on the Panhandle, but I digress as usual. Is this but I digress? Yes, this is I did. This is a digress coffee mug. So I'm digressing. And let's pick it up where we left off. So the bottom line is this, that something is happening, all right? Something is going on, but we don't engage in hyperbole here. What do I think it is? I don't know yet. It's conjecture. This is why at the Prophecy Watchers Conference, when I showed that clip with Elizabeth Vargas and Avi Loeb talking about a black swan event, I basically stated, and I'll circle back, prophecy. We've got the biblical prophetic thread from Genesis to Revelation that calls out the beginning from the end with great specificity. And it's the only book on the planet that does that. You could point to Nostradamus, but Nostradamus' quatrains are very fuzzy. You can point to the Hopi prophecies. Maybe some of those were true. But here's one of my favorites is Amos 9, 14 and 15. And I have my Bible turned to this. Now, before I even say it, and I'm way down a rabbit trail, rabbit trolls and rabbit trails. We'll get back into this article in just a minute. But Amos 9, 14 and 15 states, I will bring back the captives of my people Israel. They will rebuild the waste cities and inhabit them. They will plant vineyards and drink the wine from them. They will also plant gardens and eat the fruit from them. I will plant them in their land, and never again will they be plucked up out of the land I have given them. Let me state this really clearly and emphatically. Israel is God's timepiece. Israel is God's chosen people. End of story. That's what they are. Does that mean they're perfect in every way? No. They crucified the Son of God. They will look on him whom they have pierced. That's prophecy. They will look on him whom they have pierced. Who's they? Well, it's the, his blood be upon us and upon our children. People don't like to hear that. I'm not anti-Semitic. I love Israel. I love the children of Israel. I do. I support them, but I don't give them a free pass, folks. I don't. These are the Jews. They're not the Khazarians. These are the Jews. They are God's prophetic entities. They still are God's chosen people. So take replacement theology and toss that away. Take your amillennial view and say goodbye to that, because there they are. What are they doing back in the homeland? I will gather my people Israel and plant them back in their homeland, never again to be plucked up. So either Amos, either Gonzo. Never again to be plucked up. So everyone surrounding Israel are wasting their time. Fire. Well, we can't look at Amos 9, and no one ever talks about that. Isn't that interesting? All right. So we know that Israel is back in the land, and it is God's prophetic time clock. It isn't interesting, the rise of anti-Semitism. It's just unbelievable. I don't give them a pass. Their government and the people in their government may be just as corrupt, if not more so, than any other government or any other people on the planet. Without Messiah, without being born again and spirit-filled, people die in their sin nature. I still have a sin nature. My hope is that when Jesus calls us up, and this is extra, okay? When Jesus calls us home in the rapture, and it might be sooner than any of us think, right? Right? When Jesus calls us home in the rapture, we don't arrive in the clouds with him and with our sin nature intact. Remember when Isaiah is taken to the throne room? Woe is me, I am a man of unclean lips. Why is he saying that? He's in the throne room. Surely he should be exalting in the fact, oh my gosh, I'm in the throne room. No. Woe is me, I am a man of unclean lips. Why does he say that? He arrives with his sin nature intact. His sin nature has not been removed. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not sleep, but we shall be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. That changing in the twinkling of an eye is, in my opinion, before the trumpet sounds and we go up, we are changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. How are we changed? Our DNA is changed. We lose our sin nature. So when we arrive in the clouds with Jesus, guess what? No more sin nature. Because you're not going to be in the clouds with Jesus, arriving there with a sin nature. Not going to happen. All right, so let's continue. The theoretical physicist previously said he believed there was a good chance that 3-eye Atlas is not natural and suggested people should go on holiday.
James, what about the number 13? How it's lucky or not? I think it got its name from the Freemasons getting wiped out in the 1300s by one of the French kings. Not the Freemasons, but the, oh, you know who I mean.
Before the 29th of October.
The Crusaders.
Because who knows what will happen. So, this is hyperbole in my opinion. I mean, does it get, here's the article, people are reading it, right? It's all over the news. So, that little throwaway, I'll read it again, and suggest that people should go on a holiday before the 29th of October, because who knows what will happen. Earlier this month, Abby Loeb wrote on his blog, as of now, I assign the 30 to 40% likelihood that the 3-eye Atlas does not have a fully natural origin. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 3 or a 4. So, okay, someone's hedging his bets. This low probability scenario includes the possibility of a black swan event akin to a Trojan horse, where a technological object masquerades as a natural comet. I'll say that again. And John, go to camera 2 here, because I want to enlarge this so people can really see it.
Wow.
Okay, there we go, right there. This is pretty intense. It's right here. Here's my cursor, right? This low probability scenario includes the possibility of a black swan event akin to a Trojan horse, where a technological object masquerades as a natural comet. There's your black swan event. But not everyone follows this line of thinking, with NASA's lead scientist for solar system, Tom Statler, telling The Guardian, it looks like a comet, it does comet things, it's very, very strongly resembles in just about every way the comets that we know. So here you've got a disparity between Loeb and NASA's guy, Tom Statler. So who do we believe? We believe both, because that's what we do. We don't put our chips on Abby Loeb. We don't take our, I'm using a poker analogy for those of you who don't get it, okay? And I'm not a betting man, and I don't play poker, so there. So we take our chips, but I'm using this for an analogy. We take our
I love playing poker.
chips and we go, yeah, I'm betting on Abby Loeb. Or wait, we take our chips and go, I'm betting on Tom Statler. No, we don't do that. We just sit back and we look and we watch and we see what transpires. Maybe both of them are wrong. I don't know. So we'll continue with this. While he did confess there are some interesting properties, established confessing this, that are a little bit different from our solar system comets, he doubled down on the evidence overwhelming, pointing to 3-eye Atlas being a comet. Although recently Loeb took to his blog to write that as of now, 3-eye Atlas appears most likely to be a natural comet, adding, but the remote possibility of an over-Earth maneuver must be considered seriously as a black swan event with a small probability, because of its huge implications for humanity. So the next show I'm going to do will be a woman who claims that this is a message from aliens. So we'll see what she has to say, and then we'll dissect it. Again, people can believe what they want to believe. And I don't know this woman from Adam, and obviously she's in some sort of communication.
Okay, I believe there's something going on with this Atlas. That's what I believe. Not something minor, something major.
With something, and that's why, as a Christian, as a French supernaturalist, what are we looking at here? Look, folks, the bottom line is this, and I'll end by saying this, that when in fact, go to camera 2, John, there it is. Woman shares message from aliens as potentially hostile alien threat resurfaces. So we'll have to, in the next show, we'll listen, I'm kind of teasing you here, but the next show will be, we're talking about this, we'll see what she has to say, and we'll walk through it. As a Christian, as a French supernaturalist, the coming UFO phenomena is the coming great deception, and it will happen. This will change everything. Remember, I stated at the Property Watchers Conference, how do we arrive at a global government, right? At a global religious system? Well, when monolithic UFOs appear, that's going to change everything. They will tell us that they created all life on this planet. They started the world's religions. They started the world's civilizations. Now, at this critical juncture, ET, our space brothers, are back to usher mankind into a golden age. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not. The church, for the most part, is so anemic, they won't even go there to their own detriment. I do a show every single day. I follow the UFO phenomena. By the way, someone asked, what does the word burgeoning mean? That means it's growing. It's expanding. UFOs are real burgeoning. It's not going away. So burgeoning, it's growing, it's expanding. People are talking about it. The whole your Congress is talking about it. That's it. $10 DVD set. You can stream every single film for $4.99. You can buy the entire $10 DVD set. Don't forget our special Nephilim Mounds Conference. I'll hold it up for John to take a look at it. Nephilim Mounds Conference. There's hours and hours and hours of incredible information here. LAMarzulli.com, ElliotMarzulli.com. Do your homework. By the way, members only. Think about it. Members only get free content that other people don't get. We get the free news magazine.
Okay, guys, I'll put Tony on now. Two days old.
What this?
What's knocked you off your axis?
Mine sure is preferred Cairo. We're not exactly aligned.
Switch to AHM. They don't really do preferred providers, so you can claim the same back at any Cairo.
Nice.
With AHM, you're good. Yo, R-I-C-E. Let's cook it. Rice, baby. All right, stop. Grab a plate and listen. Rice is back with a whole new dimension. Rice, baby.
It's amazing what a little snail can do.
Gonna catch up.
Oh, come on, Eds.
This could be. Why is it there?
What's knocked you off your axis?
Mine sure is preferred
More
Cairo.
Eds. Well
We're not
done.
exactly aligned.
Switch to AHM. They don't really do preferred providers, so you can claim the same back at any Cairo.
Nice.
With AHM, you're good.
Gonna catch up.
Iris, come back.
We got some new surprise.
Lobo, what's the biggest coincidence you've ever had?
Updates regarding 3i Atlas. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. And actually, I had seen a couple coming from Stefan Burns here on YouTube, but this one is brand new from about 40 minutes ago. This is kind of amazing. Now, we have here interstellar comet 3i Atlas shows jets and first radio signals after sun pass. And actually, what we have here is something rather curious that was discovered. We have Avi Loeb talking about it. We're going to actually show a couple different scientists talking about this, including this guy's face might look a little familiar to you as well. He talked about it a little bit. We'll get into it. But what's interesting is we have here apparently 7 distinct jets showing off 3i Atlas, and what's really amazing is that it changed its trajectory to come even closer to the Earth. Now, this is not something from pure gravitational pull. So they now have confirmation, and I'm going to show you that in a minute here, that this object changed its direction. We were already assuming, or not assuming, but surmising, I guess, that it was changing its direction before this. But now we have actual, real, concrete evidence that it has indeed changed its direction and is actually going to come closer to Earth around mid-December. And what's amazing about it is these 5 different jets shown here with these lines indicate that it's somehow using these jets, but perhaps we're just guessing, because we know it has changed direction. I'm going to get into all this in this video, but the fact that it has all these multiple different jets on it, shown distinctly, as you can see here, perhaps these are what are causing it to change its direction. This is what some are postulating. So we have here, we're going to get into all this, my friends. Let's play this clip here first of Avi Loeb with the latest update. This was from yesterday. Check this out.
And now an update on a story that we have been following here at Newsmax, that strange interstellar visitor turning heads among the scientific community. Big questions still remain about 3I Atlas. Now, a lawmaker is pressing NASA for new images of the space phenomenon. And could it also have a traveling companion? We welcome back Dr. Avi Loeb. He's an astrophysicist at Harvard University for an update on this. Okay, last time you were here, we were waiting to see if this object would seem to maneuver as it got closer to the sun or do anything. What's the verdict there?
Well, thanks for having me. It did maneuver. It deviated from the path that we would have expected it to go through if its trajectory was sculpted by gravity alone. And the amount of boost to its velocity was equivalent to a jet carrying 5 billion tons of matter that would give it a recoil. Now, as of this morning, some observers noticed that it has a set of jets around it, more than 7. Some headed towards the sun, some away from the sun. It's a spectacular view that we have right now after it passed closest to the sun on October 29th. It became bluer than the sun. It was 5 times brighter than it was before it came close to the sun.
Wow.
So the action is happening
amazing
right now and in the coming days. And
so, I mean, obviously this is not usual. And I've seen these tweets from various scientists claiming, if you think this is more than just a standard comet, there's something wrong with you. Obviously, that's not the case. You have a Harvard professor here. You also have this other scientist who also chimes in saying there's something a little odd about it. Michio Kaku here, who also says something rather interesting. We'll get into that as we get farther into this video. So obviously,
Lobo, I'm just outside Sydney, Australia. And if you're in England, I wouldn't have seen that comet anyway.
there's something different about this, okay? I think the fact that it has multiple jets coming off it, not the usual type of jet, one that was pointing the wrong direction. We now have evidence that it's not only gravity changing its direction, we have numerous other things about it. Its composition apparently is not usual as well. Also, it came in from outside our solar system, the third object like this. That's why it's called 3I Atlas. And we're going to get into actually some other surprising stuff with regarding to this object and the fact that a number of governments are watching this. We also have no space agencies releasing any legitimate photos of it, even though they have the capability to do so. We're going to get into all this and much more, and even a prediction on what this object will do on December, I think it's 19th when it arrives, near the Earth. We now have that it will be closer to Earth because of its recent trajectory correction. However that's happening, I guess it's just a comet, even though it's not using just gravity, obviously, and it clearly doesn't look normal. But we have a prediction from someone who has a good track record, a long track record of getting things correct. He's the one who predicted that our president would have his ear grazed 3 months before it happened. That guy, we're going to get into what he had to say the object was, and you're not going to believe it. We'll get into that in a little bit. First, I'm going to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description, 4 months worth for $6.97. It's actually 3 months with an extra month. You definitely want to get that. If you have not already, you never know what's next. You've seen how our world has been. You also have this book here, The Lost Ways, how your great-great-grandfather lived without electricity, how to build a cellar, do things around the house as you would need to know how to do if you were for an extended period of time without electricity. Link is in the description, $37, get the printed version for that. Go check out all of my other social media linked below. let's get back to the video here. We have this picture of 3i Atlas with multiple jets being seen off it. Some are postulating, obviously, that these are what are controlling its direction potentially. And we obviously know at this point that there's more than just gravity guiding its direction. The probability of it going past Mars, Venus, and Jupiter at such close proximities is virtually impossible on just a random chance level. And I'll show you the probability for that in a minute. But let's play what Stefan Burns is saying about this specific thing with these multiple jets.
We see the solar direction, okay? So sun is over here, and 3i Atlas is going like this, okay? It's going like that, and we see not one, not two, but five, at least this is what Jaeger identified, 5 different jets coming off of it. One tiny one right there.
AT&T.
They're saying they actually observed 7, more than 7, according to Avi Loeb. There was more than 7 actually observed. Maybe in this picture, they're only showing 5, though.
Very faint one right there, but these 3 are more obvious. 1, 2, 3. So that's quite striking. You also see it on this imagery. And here, in some aspects, it's even easier to see. That forward jet, you definitely see that nicely. Here we see that top one. And then this one, I mean, even maybe...
Oh my goodness, there is. It's like, it's curved even. It almost looks curved.
You can split it kind of into a fractal dendritic nature.
Wow, that's weird. Look at it. I mean, it doesn't even look straight. I mean, obviously this one back here is straight. That's straight. That's likely straight. That looks...
This is the guy I started off with. I should switch back to him.
It's like it may be straight. But what's going on here? It almost looks like it's branching off. It's like it's branching off this one. It's so bizarre.
Going like this.
Yeah.
This is the coma. It's not the nucleus. We're not going to be able to see the nucleus, the actual object or whatever this thing is, until you can get close enough to kind of pierce through that coma because it will absorb it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that will be later this year in December when it comes near Earth. We also have, of course, American physicist Michio Kaku warns about these videos of 3i Atlas that have divided scientists' researchers on its alien and extraterrestrial origins. Actually, what he warns about here is all these fake videos. There's like 1 million fake videos of 3i Atlas, generated by Sora AI or whatever program they're using to make deep fake videos of the actual object. And of course, the reason why there's so many of these fake videos of the object is because NASA refuses to actually release a real picture of it. So also do none of the other space agencies are actually releasing real, legitimate, decent resolution images of the object, even though they can tell us and show us a picture of Pluto's smallest moon. How are you able to take a picture of Pluto's smallest moon? Pluto already is super small, and you got a moon on Pluto. It can take a picture of that. Can't take a picture of this object, of course. It's much closer. And obviously, it's a joke. We all know they have a picture, and they refuse to release it. Matter of fact, I think that is one of the things he says in another video, which I'm going to show you later. Michio here is telling NASA to release their photos because he's saying that everybody's getting seeing all these fake ones and thinking they're real. Just release the real ones. I mean, obviously makes sense, That's what you should do. I mean, people are joking about this online as well. Every picture of Mars 200 million miles away, every picture of 3i Atlas a blur, right? That's basically what's going on right now. And then you have all these people filling the void by making up Sora AI videos of it, right? So let me get this straight. I can't speak straight either. We can get photos and video of Uranus' tiny moon, but we have to wait another month or 2 for 3i Atlas to get closer to Earth to be able to take images. I said Pluto earlier, didn't I? I meant Uranus. All right. No joke there. Scientists find tiny new moon around Uranus with James Webb Space Telescope. All right. This is good stuff. All right.
Tony went there. Let's see that again.
this straight. I can't speak straight either. We can get photos and video of Uranus' tiny moon, but we have to wait another month or two for 3i Atlas to get closer to Earth to be able to take images. I said Pluto earlier, didn't I? I meant Uranus. All right. No joke. There. Scientists find tiny new moon around Uranus with James Webb Space Telescope. All right. Oh, this is good stuff. All right. So can't get a picture of 3i Atlas, though, even though I went right back past Mars, right? Can't get a picture of it. Just a weird coincidence that it's going right through our solar system, right by 3 different planets, almost precisely. And then it changes its direction a little bit so that it'll get closer to Earth when it goes by it in December. Oh, it's just a weird, object, normal comet. Yeah, I mean, give me a break, dude. No comment. The probability of this happening is like basically 1 in a billion, or even probably less than that, if you think about it.
We watched that yesterday, guys. I didn't realise. Yeah, Moo, jump up. Come on, jump up. Good girl. Okay.
Repco's your go-to for all things DIY. Swap your old battery for a Repco one and save $40. And get 20% off Ryco oil filters.
M1 and M2 money supply going up again. They're printing money again. That may be why gold and silver is going through the roof. We also have, on top of that, what's going on with this massive bubble, this market bubble. We have BlackRock looking like they're about ready to go under themselves. BlackRock, yes, maybe going bankrupt. We got our president's solution that people haven't connected the dots to BlackRock with. We'll get into that. We have also what's going on in the culture, the fact that a lot of people are broke right now, working overtime and not able to even afford a home. We're going to get into actually a ton of other stuff. I have to cover this, my friends. We have now latest news. This is pretty crazy about some emails from the guy with the island. Yes, indeed. Jeffrey Boy here apparently had some email dump very recently, within the last so many hours. House Democrats released emails from his estate obtained via subpoena. It's part of 23,000 files that reference, of course, a president spending time apparently with someone. They're claiming under, of course, age. All right. So they're saying that there is evidence, or at least it's said in these emails, that he had spent time at Jeffrey's, of course, house with one of these individuals. They're saying our president did. Okay. But it is really bizarre because, as I've said before, if there was really anything that they had on them, the entire point of the island is to use it against anybody not falling in line and doing what they're supposed to do. And clearly, our president is not someone that's been.
I agree with that. If they had something on him, they would have used it.
Falling in line often with those at the top. They're doing things that they don't like. Also, you have this factor as well. Tim Burchett, I tried to release the files immediately, and the Democrats blocked it. So I kind of get this funny feeling that there's something not right about this. These emails were from back in 2018. They weren't like emails from like back in 2003. Okay. This is well way past after he'd already been caught, Jeffrey, way afterwards, while our president was president his first term, while these guys want to get him, we're talking about the Democrats want to get our president. You remember that? All the things with the Russia and everything else. 2018, you got these emails. Of course, it's Midas Touch here on YouTube. You get totally promoted by this particular website we're on right here. Oh, I wonder why. Yeah, if you look at these emails, they're not from recently. Okay, here we got one. That's email 1, and this is email 2 is 2019. There was actually another one in 2018 I saw earlier. This one's 2011. This one's 2011. Of course, when was Jeffrey brought to justice the first time around? Let's go look that up. Okay, that was 2006. Okay, so this makes perfect sense. So 2006 was his first arrest. And so all these emails are after that. There's 3 emails I can see. Here's email 1. It's 2011. Oh, well, it's not even showing on the screen. Whoops. Here we go. 2011. And he's never been once mentioned, police chief. Okay, I want you to realize, okay, this is that the
James, never heard of Patrick Moore.
dog that hasn't barked is Trump. He has spent hours at his house with him. He has never once been mentioned. And it says, I'm 75% there. Okay, so this is interesting. You got that one. Then you got one in 2019. Okay, this is Michael Wolff. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's the guy with the documentary on this about the girls. So this is really interesting. So like I said, is this corrupted information? Was this like sort of a setup, or is this legit? Because if it was legit, why didn't they use it before? To me, that doesn't make any sense. They've been trying to get him in any way and every way possible, yet they didn't use this until now. You see what I mean? And then they don't want to release all the files, particularly on the left, even though we had someone trying to get that done. They rejected it.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC.
So this is interesting. I tried to really.
It looks like Bill Maher, the comedian.
These files.
The lefty comedian.
Was immediately, and they blocked it. Okay, so my whole thing is, so the way I look at it is either he did something that looked like it might be guilty, and he's caught up in these files, or they manufactured it. It's going to be one of the two. And if it's the first one,
okay,
the question is it something to where he really did something wrong?
James, I'm from the Benny Hill and Morecambe and Wise era. I don't know who Patrick Moore was.
Or is it just something that appears like he might have done something wrong? See what I mean? So that's the question right there. And then that might explain why he just said, let's get on to another story. Let's stop talking about these files. See what I mean? So that, I mean, it's an interesting question. But for me, it's very hard for me to believe that he really did something wrong, because if he did, they would have used it against him a long time ago. Not now, and then not even release it all, right? It just seems kind of weird to me, the whole thing. At any rate, OpenAI Sam Altman sees AI bubble forming as industry spending surges. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has reportedly said that he believes AI could be in a bubble, comparing market conditions to those of the dot-com boom in the 1990s. Actually, it's way bigger. It's way bigger. We'll get into.
Benny Hill's still funny now. If you look on YouTube for him, you'll find him.
That. Are we in a phase investors are as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes, 100%. And it's a circular market. I talked about this before. We have companies like NVIDIA investing in OpenAI, and OpenAI turns around and buys their microchips. It's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And you have a lot of that going on. Here you have Sam Altman asking for a bailout. Check this out.
When something gets sufficiently huge, whether or not they are on paper, the federal government is kind of the insurer of last resort, as we've seen in various financial crises and insurance companies screwing things up. So I guess, given the magnitude of what I expect AI economic impact to look like, I do think the government ends up as like the insurer of last resort, but I think I mean that in a different way than you mean that, and I don't expect them to actually be like writing the policies in the way that maybe they do.
Okay, I don't hear all about this. What I'll do, I'll switch back to the one we started with, because that was good. Hang on, what's that? Okay, let's watch this.
We don't like to make a fuss, but BritBox has gotten bigger than ever.
You can't be serious.
With even more of your favorites streaming before anywhere else.
Amazing.
But let's not make a scene. BritBox, always better, now bigger.
September to April is the territory's best kept season. Come and see why we've been keeping it hush-hush.
Politics and everything all seemingly swirling at
This is 21 hours old, guys, so it's just come out.
the same time.
Imagine a man who preaches freedom yet funds dictatorships. A man who aligns himself with sovereignty yet profits from surveillance and positions himself as a hero whilst naming his empire after symbols of corruption and villains, greed, preachers who tried to enslave Middle-earth and got Aragorn. How about that? Today's video is about the Antichrist, aka Peter Thiel. Like most people, I like Lord of the Rings. And
of course, Peter Thiel did a lecture on the Antichrist and said how that if we actually try to stop AI, that will bring forth the Antichrist. He was saying the opposite of probably what would be true.
Tony's not Christian, is he? He's never said he was Christian.
Well, he's building a system pretty much that
But he's aware of the Antichrist. I wonder if he is a Christian.
the Antichrist would love. It's kind of amazing how these people position themselves. You have Billy Boy, the computer guy, Gates. Obviously, he's become a villain of recent as well, actually over the last few years, 5 years. And now he's trying to position himself as being a conservative bro also, all of a sudden out of nowhere. And it's hilarious to watch this. Or is it, well, it's not hilarious, really. It's kind of, if you have a really dark sense of humor like me, it's hilarious to watch. And you're seeing this happen all around us. And we had two World War II veterans, about 100 years old, talking about what is going on in our society and how bad it's gotten. Check this out.
And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I got.
It's just amazing.
Well, the poor old bugger.
And it's not the only guy. That's from America. That was a few days ago on Fox 13. You also had here a British World War II
Yeah, Lobo, I like a beer.
veteran about 3 days ago over in the UK saying very similar words. Check this out. Let's play this really quick.
And he went on Good Morning Britain and said something that everyone, including Americans, really need to hear.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry.
That's the UK. And he's got to be talking about how Islam's taken over the UK. That's why he's saying it's not a... And you're not going to get it back, guys. UK's gone.
The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now. And what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than when it was when I fought for it.
That's that bitterness talking. You
Yeah.
can hear it.
That's crazy, man. He says it's worse now
Right
than when he was fighting for it back during World War II.
I'll come out in a minute.
Both of them saying there are countries that went to hell in a handbasket, and he didn't fight so that Peter Thiel could be literally the Antichrist and destroy our entire world. You know what I mean? Like, these people are disgusting. They're running, of course, the show. There's numerous people that I can point to. He's one of them, Peter Thiel. Cash, I would say he's probably one of them as well. All the stuff he's doing. He's now suing people.
I go to sleep about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I automatically wake up at 6:30. Every morning, I'm like a minute or two off 6:30. Then I just lay in bed for an hour and then get up and get the paper and have a coffee.
People
I get the paper delivered.
Who talk about him online because he totally cares about freedom, and he really wants to get to the truth about Charlie Kirk, of course, as well. I mean, the guy's a joke. You have all these people that are just simply taking advantage, doing evil while they make money. It's really disgusting. You got Sam Altman, all these people, and right now at UC Berkeley in California, we're seeing agitators, particularly communist-based, not all of them, but some of them are Antifa, causing brawls at a TP USA event. And the irony is, of course, that they're trying to label TP USA as instigators and causing, of course, all this violence, when in reality, literally 2 months ago, the president of the organization, of course, died. And they're saying that TP USA is the problem. And they're coming before the entire event, filling up entire areas, protesting, throwing tear gas, bottles, all manner of things. And despite all of this, a lot of people were there for the event, packed house in the heart of a deep blue UC Berkeley. Check this out. But first, we'll start with Amy Schumer. Check this out.
Amy Schumer. If ever there was a celebrity destined for a crash and burn episode, it was her. Just a few years ago, she was one of the most popular female comedians of all time, with a string of successful stand-up tours, movie deals, Netflix specials, woman who was not only theoretically funny and a box office draw, but an outspoken feminist and activist who somehow managed to position herself behind every major trend and movement that looked to be gaining traction. But it turns out that Amy Schumer's towering empire was built on a shaky foundation of stolen material, questionable talent, high-profile controversies,
That's a lot more than that. She was propped up by Hollywood because she had the right message.
And her humor, it's really gross humor.
And that message was feminism, which now has been completely and utterly rejected by everyone. Everyone after 2020 started to realize that something's a little weird with these, late night shows where they seem to be telling us that our president, they make continuous jokes against our president, telling us our president's no good. And now we have Stephen Colbert admitting to all of this, saying that actually we were your late night news source. We're like your friend, and we were telling you what to think. He literally admits to it in this video. I played it on I think on the last video I played that one. But the thing about it is no one wants to hear the politics of these people in Hollywood. And we used to watch late night shows to laugh, not to hear what you wanted us to think, right? And we have now even people like Billy Bob Thornton admitting to this on Joe Rogan. Check this out.
When actors become activists, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oy.
I donate to a lot of charities, mainly children's stuff, but nobody knows it. I don't go to the award show and talk about it when I'm getting my award. It's like Ricky Gervais said in that skit of his. He said, look, come up here.
Lobo, why do I say that there's the dead people? Why do I say that? Hang on, I lost track.
Accept your little award and fuck off.
Yeah.
Of course, exactly. And so a lot of people.
That's what I was going to say, Vas. When you die, there's only two places you can go, heaven or hell. There's no hanging around and telling people who are alive stories. and giving them advice, because the soul doesn't have the capacity to do that. It's heaven or hell.
Caught on to this. And it seems to be all coming to a head at the exact same time.
Jump.
We're talking everything. DEI. We got what's going on with politics. We got what's going on with the culture, other countries, people, of course, over in a country.
Diane, didn't Solomon get in trouble for necromancy? Pretty sure he did.
Everything all at the exact same time. It is actually kind of amazing. You even have with these gaming companies, you have this one company called Square Enix Games. They make Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, other games like this. And we have a story about how a narrative designer from Square Enix terminated part of org called Limit Break Mothership, lobbying agency with marginalized people in the video games industry, intending to replace white, of course, men. So in other words, she was part of the whole apparatus of replacing the average American worker with, of course, someone who is maybe a part of the rainbow, trans, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see kind of on this, let me see if I can show this on the screen. I don't know if I can get this on the screen right. Unfortunately, found out that I'm impacted by the latest Square Enix layoffs whilst on my honeymoon. Gonna be honest, folks, I don't know what to do right now, so I'm just going to think about things for the foreseeable. C was my dream company. Now I'm shattered. Of course, she was one of the people trying to replace average workers at the company, trying to make sure to get quotas, right? And now it's completely backfired. You even had the chief publishing officer, John Heineke,
Good night, Di.
head of the Western branch of Square Enix, has officially resigned ahead of a wave of layoffs. He responded pissed off to the concern of woke ideology in games. When AAA start pushing agendas gamers don't want to see, they pay for it by not buying the game. Fire the long-term.
Guys, I'm out after this as well. It's got 30 minutes to go, but I'm out after this as well, guys.
Failing CEO and their staff that embraced woke ideology. And then here's this guy. Let's see if I can get it on the screen a little bit better than that. Oh, piss off. That's what he said. Now, he had to apparently get forced to resign. All those that were essentially pushing this type of stuff got fired or resigned from the company. Obviously, this is a good thing. And we're seeing all these type of things happening all across different spectrums of our culture now.
Well, as always, welcome home. And this is the girl that just got fired. 67% of people working in the games industry are male. Trans people make up 4% of the games industry workplace. So they're overrepresented 4 times above what's normal. But you think that you need an advocacy group for them. And you just got fired. How do we keep winning?
Exactly. That's 100% what it is. And like I said, we're going to get into this. Somehow Ben Shapiro is connected to the poop throwing festival in a sort of a weird way. I don't know if you heard about that. Like I said, I showed you earlier the poop throwing thing. In India, this is where Tyler Oliveira went to a remote village in India where they had celebrated Dwala. Is that how you say it? Dwala? I don't even know how you say the festival's name. And they essentially use cow dung as part of their festivities. They throw it at each other. They wallow in it. It's like a massive snowball fight, except for with shit, basically. So we'll get into that.
I'm still here for another 25 minutes, James.
How Ben actually relates to that. We have Dinesh D'Souza stepping in it big time. We'll get into that. And there's actually a ton of other stuff we're going to get into. What's going on the right? It's just really crazy. First of all, I'm going to mention Food Supply 20.
This guy here is creating a game, a computer game about Jesus. I don't know how he's going to do it. Do the apostles have what powers? He reckons he can make a game of it, though. And he's invested, and they actually are making it. So I wonder how he's going to pull that off.
5-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 4 months worth for $6.97. You can definitely want to get that. If you have not already, link is in the description. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, how your great-great-grandfather lived without electricity, had a bit of cellar, do things around the house as they did in the old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely need
Lobo, you watch the decode?
that before the power goes out.
I don't know who Solomon is.
You never know what's next. You've seen her all the things that have happened over the last 5 years, it's definitely wise to be prepared. Link is in the description for both of those. Go check out all my other social media link below. Let's get back to the video. So let's check out what Ben Shapiro had to say. This is kind of interesting.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. And I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities. If you're
Absolutely. The problem with this is that you look at why the opportunities don't exist. The opportunities don't exist because in a lot of these companies, especially tech companies, they're using H-1B visas in order to get employees. They're importing these people that will work longer because
DEI as well.
they can take advantage of them and manipulate them and use them as indentured servants. You have somebody here. I mean, I don't know how Ben Shapiro grew up.
You got also the AI taking over a lot of jobs as well. They're firing people and replacing them with AI, which I think is going to backfire as well. But Ben is talking, he's also recommending that we should increase the age for retirement. Maybe you should retire at age 70 instead of 60. This is literally the type of ideas he's putting out there. It's no wonder he's lost 20,000 subscribers over the last week.
Thank you for watching it, Lobo. I hope you understood that that's actually God communicating with us still. You can't watch that and say it's not from God, which means God is still communicating with us, and there's tangible proof. You can't make that up. No one knew about that till me. That was all me and the Holy Ghost who discovered that.
On his YouTube channel. And of course, considering also what Dinesh D'Souza said recently, where he literally pointed out a chart. Let's see if we get on the screen a little bit better. There we go. How about commenting on this festival? It seems like the future belongs to the poop throwers, referring to those Indians in the remote village. Here's the bar chart showing the median household income by major racial and ethnic groups in the United States for 2020.
Okay, with Oz, was it a coincidence? I disclose about 30 things on it. You know, if you watch it, Lobo, you know I disclose about 30 or 40 maybe things that aren't known. That's beyond coincidence. That's astronomical odds that's I can do that. It's not coincidence. Well, if it's a coincidence, how come no one knew it until I learned it?
24. Note that, if I can zoom in a little bit, Asians have the highest wages. So he literally put this as his response to Tyler Oliveira's indication in his tweet about being doxxed, being, of course, threatened, because he simply went to a remote village in India and documented what they do at their festival, which is throw cow dung at each other. And apparently a number of Indians got very, very offended.
Oh, that's because the cows are holy in their country, so they throw cow shit at each other. Charming people.
By this, and tried to ruin his life. And it appears that even conservative commentator Dinesh D'Souza joined the ranks because he's been pretending all this time for the last decade that he's just an American. It's not about...
Lobo, what are the odds the Wicked Witch of the West in Oz is a villain and 666 is a villain in the Bible? Is that coincidence or is that put there?
Race. We all need to get along. Let's be all equal.
Come on.
And now he shows his true colors by putting his country and, of course, his race over America. And this also lends into what Ben Shapiro was talking about, which it has to do with the fact that there's all these people taking, our jobs. There's also AI taking our jobs. And it just seems like a little bit unfair, just a wee bit unfair. And then you got this one. This one, I saw this was just shocking. This is so classical, effing classical and hilarious. Indian IT careerist shrewdly climbs the American corporate ladder, becomes CEO, takes over the company, fires 900 Americans over a Zoom call, hires 1,000 Indians in India. The firm hired 1,000 employees in India after CEO fired 900 staffers over Zoom. And this is what people have noticed. I noticed this even when I was an engineer 20 years ago. the little trends like this. We had an Indian company try to do some of our work. I was a mechanical engineer working at a semi-truck company called Navistar. And we had an Indian firm do a number of our drafting drawings for medium duty truck, I think it was. It was like my first day at work. We had to actually go in it and fix everything they ruined. So we spent a bunch of money on this Indian firm and they ruined all our drawings and we had to redo it all. So basically we wasted our money. That was back 20 plus years ago. That was my first day at work at that company. That was my first day after college, going to my first job as an engineer. That was the first thing we did. So it's not like this hasn't been happening for a long time. It's been happening for a very long time. Even 25 years ago. Yeah, it was 98 when I first worked there. That's how long ago. 98, dude. It's like 27 years ago. Then we have this here, Sydney Sweeney. You remember this? I think I showed this on the channel. She was asked recently in an interview, is she going to apologize for saying she had great genes? Because you know that's really wrong, especially considering the color you are. You shouldn't be saying stuff like that because that's racist. But actually, in reality, it has nothing to do with that. She's just simply saying she had great genes. You could be any person and say this. It doesn't mean anything other than you think you personally have great genes, whether you're referring to the genes you're wearing or your genetics, right? Obviously, she did it in an American Eagle ad. A lot of people freaked out over it. And of course, as usual, they had someone interview her and try to make her apologize, and it didn't work out too well. She didn't apologize. And apparently, this actress here, Amy Lou Wood, got very offended that she didn't apologize and put as an emoji a puke symbol. And this is apparently her response or reaction to the interview. She's an actress. I don't even know what movie she's in. Here she is. Is this her as well? Yeah, I don't know. At any rate, you get the idea. So then we have this. We have a World War II vet from Britain, 100 years old, saying that he didn't think it was worth it now that he's seen what's happened to Britain. It wasn't worth it. All the people that sacrificed their lives for Britain. This is insane. Check this out.
This next clip I'm about to show you, it's going to tell you literally everything you need to know about how far the UK has fallen recently. Alec Penstone, he's a 100-year-old World War II veteran from England, and he went on Good Morning Britain and said something that everyone, including Americans, really need to hear.
What does Remembrance Sunday
Holy cow, Batman!
mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those roads.
How crazy is the Hindu god? Let's create the cow and let's make their poo holy. So literally they get bullshit thrown at them. Literally. God's got a sense of humour, guys.
And rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Man, that's crazy, dude. So, of course, they pressed him on it, too. They actually pressed him on this. Let me play this. See the response to this.
The guy who attempted to gaslight him.
What do you mean by that, though?
What do you mean by that, though?
Is the same guy who just days earlier had advocated for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so check this out. So this guy is the guy interviewing the 100-year-old veteran. And he said that he endorsed that, of course, Muslim type of law in New York City now that we have, of course, Zoran there. This is the guy asked him, what do you mean by that? Wait, well, you don't like what England is now? Yeah, well, maybe he doesn't, actually. It makes sense that he may not like it, considering all the stuff that's happened to it of recent.
James, with the UK, I think they're gone, mate. Them motels they're in, they hold arsenals as well. I streamed a vid where the manager of a motel resigned because he was stashing rifles for them and giving them free entry into their rooms and all that. So, you're gonna have to face arms with the Muslims. They're gonna arm up. They're gonna have rifles, and there's so many of them, and they're so angry that gee, it's gonna take a lot to beat them. I can't see you beating them.
Yeah, not really surprising at all, actually. So you got that story. It's just kind of shocking.
I can't either.
But it shows you how everyone has come to the point and understands where we're at. And they see that everything is, of course, this whole system was not good that we're seeing around us.
The whole world political systems are changing. All around the world, governments are being toppled, and right-wing, super right-wing or super left-wing mobs are getting in.
And we also had, and I showed this over my other channel. All right, check this out. So we have Law and Order, this TV show Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. I'm sure some of you have seen this before. I used to watch this a long time ago. My wife watches it regularly. What's interesting, though, is a lot of people are not aware that with teachers, you've heard these stories of teachers, doing stuff, of course, with their students that they shouldn't be doing. Usually everyone assumes it's male teachers doing this. Well, guess what? Apparently, that's not the case really anymore. Almost all of them that do it now are female teachers. Matter of fact, this is number 78 and 79 of 2025 alone. So there's almost been 80 of these teachers this year alone that have been caught doing this with under, of course, age. We're talking students.
I love rewards, but getting them from pet stores can be too hard. Collect Flybuys points with Swaggle. Too easy. Hit it, Swaggle, the too easy pet store. Too easy.
Now with double coverage. Double coverage. Switch to Vodafone Business.
Bloody yeah.
Behind the wheel during our November deal event, where Kia demo vehicle.
These look like regular glasses, but what they do is on another level. Don't risk straining your eyes or wasting money on outdated prescription glasses.
Best friends Rayleigh, Grease, how do you say her name? Last name Brooklyn here, both former employees.
Hey,
teachers
boy.
at a school in Georgia have now been charged because this is something, and we're not even full. I mean, we do have another month and a half. We got 2 months left basically in the year. It may actually get as high as 100 in 1 year of teachers in America doing this. And we're talking female teacher.
That'd be because of the influence on porn over the last 10 years. That's why the girls are doing that.
It's only for the male teachers, it's a far smaller number. But everyone just assumes that it's the other way around because of these type of TV shows like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which makes you believe it's only the men to do this type of stuff. In reality, it's actually not the case. Actually, especially over the last 5 to 10 years, it's flipped and it's become this instead. And a lot of people are starting to realize this because we've been told it's always the men. They're always the bad guys. And actually that kind of leads into the whole conversation that's been going on in X over the last week or two at this point. It all started with Allie Beth Stuckey saying that feminism failed us.
James, men ain't safe under Sharia law either.
And then she goes on to tell men to stop watching porn.
And
then that led into a ton of other topics in the same realm. Basically, men versus women, pretty much is what it's become, sort of a trad con. Not exactly. It's sort of a more like trad con, female influencers versus others that are actually maybe traditional conservatives. Because a lot of these females that are the influencers in the space have sort of the girl boss mentality. A lot of them have used to be on only, of course, fans. Like here we have Nala. She was one of them. You had Ashley St. Clair. You got knocked up by Elon. She just praised the fact that Zoran Mandami won in New York, and that's where she's living in a palace of Elon's because she got knocked up by him. She's supposedly a tradcon, by the way. Some of these, there's a lot of these women, you'd be shocked if you knew their history. They're not some normal lady that you met down the road that really is a traditional conservative that has, had a normal life. Some of them have got caught at conventions doing stuff, and now they're famous influencers on X. Some of them have been on Only of Course fans. Some of them have literally been with almost everybody on the right. We're talking like Lauren Southern. That's one of them. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, we're talking half of them are like this, and they're telling men how to be, and it all seems to be very much girl bossy. And a lot of guys are realizing this and reacting to it. There was even a story, a very ridiculous story. Here it is. Women demands ex-boyfriend pay for IVF after 10-year breakup over family plans. A 34-year-old woman is seeking compensation from her 38-year-old ex-boyfriend for 10 years for fertility treatments like IVF or egg freezing, claiming he promised marriage and children while she paused her career to support his ambitions. The relationship ended when he stated he was not ready for family life, leaving her facing fertility challenges. So there's actually women out there saying, on the right, saying that she deserves to be paid. And so there's a lot of these type of weird stories popping up. That's just yet another one. Then you got another thing that everyone was fighting over. Is it still number one? There was like a crazy amount of, let me see if it's still number one as well. Yeah. Here we are. It's still number one. Florida pastor Rich Tidwell marries second wife, cites Bible for polygyny. All right, so that's the one that a lot of people.
And James, you know what else they do? The one that the girl that's tried to get him charged or whatever, they end up stoning her to death. They do that to her. She ends up being, it's really bad. You know it.
We're talking about freaking out over. I thought this was really interesting because, look, see, if you look at the last 5,000 years of our history, just look at that and how was society set up compared to today. Generally speaking, what it was before was probably mostly monogamy, but there were some that did polygyny. There definitely was no gay marriage. There was no rainbow. There were people that were gay. Don't get me wrong. There were 100% people. They were called eunuchs back then, but they weren't like getting married, and they weren't. They didn't have 100 genders. You know what I mean? Like all the stuff we see today wasn't something that ever existed before. Okay, and then it was over the last 1,000 years that we went from polygyny more to monogamy, period, and not allow any polygyny. So before, like if you go back 940 years ago, that's when the Catholic priest could no longer marry. It was 1139 AD. I think it was Pope Innocent III that nullified all the priest marriages, told them they could no longer marry. And then there was a priest, there was a bishop, a pope, Bishop of Rome, pope before him. I can't remember which one. I could pull it up, but I don't want to. That said,
I wonder what the motive is for stopping priests having families. That's what it is.
That made it illegal for priests to marry. And then you could go back, a priest, a pope before that, who made it illegal for priests to inherit church property. So they started doing this around 10, not 10, like 1100.
They get suspended sentences. In Australia around the Olympics in 2000, James, we had them trying to do that to our kids as well. But the gang who done it, they got arrested and they got 30 years jail, 25 years jail. And we stopped the grooming gangs. We don't have grooming gangs here because we got in early and nipped it in the bud.
1139. 1139 was when they nullified all the priest marriages. So this was around the time that no longer could priests marry. And actually before that, there were priests that had two wives. There were priests that had two wives. Some of them. Well, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them had one wife. But there were some priests 1,000 years ago that had two wives. And if you go look at some of these early church writings, they didn't consider two wives polygyny. They had I'll just show you I'll tell you the definitions. I don't have this all pulled up. I've shown it before on video. It's been a long time. But if you look at some of these early church writers, like about 200-300 AD, there were writings that would say that we don't consider it bigamy and trigamy polygyny, which means if you have two or three wives, that's not considered polygyny. After 3, then they considered it a sin. This is like the early church, ante-Nicene church fathers. So
I wouldn't want 2 wives. I'm happy with the one missus I've got.
We went from that to...
I'm too lazy with 1 wife. How would I handle 3?
Dr. Kellogg, which is about 100 plus years ago, where he thought it was a sin to have sex at all, period. Yeah. And he's the guy who developed Kellogg's cornflakes. And his whole thing was that he thought sex was evil. And so he only did it, I think, 1 time, of course, with his wife, something like that. I remember, if I remember the story correctly. And he was obsessed with inventing things to get people to stop having, doing the thing. And that's what Kellogg's cornflakes was one of his inventions. That it was supposed to make you not want to do it. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but it doesn't seem to stop anybody anyways. But my point is, though, our society...
They got this stuff, bromide. They give it to you when you go through military training, and they give it to the crims as well. And it's an anti-aphrodisiac.
It's so backwards. We have an extremely low birth rate. The reason why we have all these people coming into our country is because we don't have enough kids. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
This is very simple to understand if you get the dynamics. If you don't have 2.2 children per family in America, you have to bring in people. If you don't bring in people, you have to make robots. Or you just have a shrinking population and your country's economy collapses. One of the 4. So you either have economy collapse, make robots to replace everybody, bring in, of course, migrants, or you actually have kids. Those are your options. And a lot of people just simply don't understand this. Now, everyone in the West, all the nations, their birth rate is going like this, down. And it's because of feminism, I think, is the main reason. I think it's also the Fed, and I've talked about this before. But just think about these biblical stories. Think about Abraham. Think about how Abraham's family grew so fast and his offspring, so essentially his nation underneath him grew so fast in population that the Egyptians freaked out and like, oh, we got to deal with these guys. They're getting too big, way too fast. They're having too many kids. So to me, that's like an example of how a government looks at families. The government likes power. They see families as not something that they want, because the bigger the family is, the stronger the family is, it's a competitor with the government. That's why you see all these things about pride, rainbow, why you see, you got to go and do your career, you got to get your degree, and you're going to marry at 40 years old, and you barely have a chance to have a kid. That's all because of the GOP. Believe it or not, or those at the top, or whoever likes to think that way in the GOP. So this whole idea of having a second wife was actually normal back in the early church, believe it or not. It isn't normal today. Everyone thinks it's a sin or wrong or evil or something. But what's amazing is you have all these saints, patriarchs, famous people in scripture that had more than one wife. King David, even Abraham himself did. I mean, it's pretty interesting. So a lot of people have been freaking out over this, calling it a sin. You got Mike Winger saying, "Oh, he's what was it he said? He said disqualified." I think that's what he said. Mike Winger. What did he say? You're disqualified from ministry. I think that's what he said. Of course, this is the most popular. I think one of the most popular Christian pastors on YouTube. Not the most popular, but one of the most popular. Where is it at? Wow, he's tweeting every minute. My goodness, dude. No, not every minute. He's got a few tweets. So this man is disqualified from ministry. Scripture twisting so he can have sex with multiple women. This is ridiculous for him to say this. I mean, you could make the argument maybe from the New Testament that it's a sin, but you can't really make it from the Old Testament. Not at all. Also, I mean, you could make an argument either way from the New Testament if you look at the ancient languages. It's a little tricky, but to just say that the guy's immediately a heretic or disqualified is really kind of a ridiculous stance. Because and personally, I don't want to. Obviously, I have one wife, I'm fine, but I don't want to have any more. But my point is that to say that he's a sinner and he's evil or something like that is just pretty ridiculous. Let's see what the guy says. I haven't even seen this video. Let's check it out.
The Bible never demands monogamy. God never demands it. The Bible never prohibits polygyny. And to the shock of many, God compares David's lawful marriages, plural, with his unlawful union with Bathsheba in order to indicate that he had done the wrong thing.
So, I mean, if we're talking about the Old Testament, I could show a million verses that make it very obvious that God was okay with it in the Old Testament. It's not hard to find these verses. But with the New Testament, it's a lot trickier. You can easily make an argument either side. But let me just show you a few from the Old Testament to make it very obvious. I made an article on this a long time ago. All right, so let me just show you a few that, like, just these are straight up verses. A man is not allowed to diminish food, clothing, marital rights if he marries an additional wife. This is literally a verse in Exodus. Leviticus 20:14 prevents a man from marrying a woman and her mother at the same time. This rule would be irrelevant if polygamy was a sin. I mean, you can just keep going forever. Judges 8:30, Gideon had many wives. He's a man of God. I mean, one of the spies, Caleb, got into the promised land. Let me show you that one. That one's ridiculous. That one's like so obviously proof. This one's really obvious proof right here. First Chronicles 2:46-48. Caleb had 2 concubines, yet he's one of the only of 2 men allowed into the promised land. And as you know, Moses was not even allowed enter the promised land due to one sin. So if it was a sin, he would have never got it. End of story. Because Moses did literally one sin and didn't get in. So I mean, there's stuff like this. It just makes it really obvious that in the Old Testament it was not a sin. In the New Testament, yeah, you can make an argument that it's a sin. There's ways you can argue it. You can also argue from the other side. It's a tricky topic, but the point is that I think it's really ridiculous. People are just coming out and condemning it, because if you look at, just ignore the whole topic of Scripture, ignore the whole topic of is it right or wrong, and instead look at it this way. If you're one of the guys at the top and you want people to stop having kids, and let's say you don't even care if something's right or wrong, you just want people in America, in the West, to stop having kids. That's your goal. What would you do? Well, for one, you would outlaw this. That would be a very obvious one. Outlaw polygyny. That's gone. Then you would say, well, we want
Lobo, he's saying all the tricks the enemy uses
them to stop
against us.
I mean, getting with women. Let's make the women unattractive. Let's make them so that they're very much like men. Feminism. Let's get feminism in there. What else would we want to do? Oh, let's bring in the rainbow. Bring in the rainbow. Then just be with your own sex. You don't need to be with the other opposite one. You don't need to have kids. What else would we do? Oh, let's put out stuff in the media like Vogue magazine and say that it's cool to be single, which is the latest thing, by the way. Women, you should not have a boyfriend or a husband. It's better to be single. So, it's so obvious. If you just look at every single thing being pushed in our culture, it's all that direction. No family. Don't get married. You see what I mean? It's all that direction. It's super obvious if you want to see it. And what was the biggest, scariest thing to Egypt from Abraham? Too many kids. Too many kids. Of course, he only had 2 wives, technically. I mean, he had a wife, and then he was with her servant or something, right? Like her servant was, I can't remember her name now. Sarah's servant was named Hagar, right? Something like that. So he was literally only with 2 women. One was his wife, and the other one was like a servant or concubine or something. And then you had, after that, Jacob had, Leah and Rachel, right? And then isn't he the one that founded Israel? So they had 12 kids. So you can have one wife and have 12 kids. I mean, it's insane, but people have done it. But my point is that obviously this is not encouraged. Everyone looks at you like you're crazy. And actually, matter of fact, let me show you a story that fits in with all this. There's like a ton of stories, actually. Where is this story at? This was actually really interesting when I saw this one. Where did it go? Nope. No. Here it is. Okay, so you've heard of this thing, the Handmaid's Tale. This is 100%. Oh no, they're going to get married and believe in God and have kids. Oh, this is a weird, evil thing. Handmaid's Tale. Let's write the story. I mean, this is literally what it is. And of course, this is 60 Minutes of making literally fake story here. Well, you could say it is. Margaret Atwood, author of 64 books, including The Handmaid's Tale, has seen her work banned for content deemed overtly sexual, morally corrupt, and anti-Christian. It hasn't been banned anywhere from what I can tell. Maybe like one bookstore or something banned it. It literally has not been banned anywhere. Here's Matt Walsh. If by banned you mean the book is available everywhere that books are sold and has been obsessively promoted by every major media outlet for decades and adapted into 6 seasons of streaming show on Hulu and not actually banned anywhere in any form at all, then yeah, the book has definitely been banned. And it's promoted everywhere because this is what they want you to do. They want you to believe religion's evil. God's bad. Don't get married and have kids. That's weird. Like go do your career and become a trans. That's basically what they want. So I just find it hilarious how everything goes that one direction. That's why I don't come out and condemn someone who's